Hello and welcome back to the Hearthstone Global Games. Next up is going to be Bulgaria versus Mexico. We just witnessed Austria get a very convincing win against Peru. I've got to admit, if I was like you, Neil, if I had 2 picks, Austria would be my second.
Would they?
Yeah.
Okay. What if you had 1 pick?
Well, Italy.
Of course.
Already had Italy.
Sorry, I forgot you picked sort of so late that it slipped my mind. Okay.
Let's take a look at the group. Mexico already through on 2 wins. We've had it confirmed. It's guaranteed. All the teams that have 2 wins are at least through on 3rd place. Bulgaria do need to win this to get through.
Yep, Bulgaria win this, they will be through. If they lose this, they will almost certainly be out just because their game record is not very good, and so that will just get even worse, and they'll be in a world of trouble. Basically, Bulgaria win and in. We can go with that.
And later on in the same group, we're going to have Italy versus Canada. Italy are going to need to win that one too.
Yeah, who thought Italy versus Canada would be a bottom of the group clash?
Right,
it is.
with Canada already out. Let's take a look at the players representing the teams. Morgalad, Best Uri EU, Golan Pachaga, Silent Storm. You should be used to these guys by now. They've done some amazing things in the Hearthstone Global Games so far.
Yeah, Irving G, Epsilon, Yonas, and Empanzidado. I don't know how to say that name.
I think it's Empazinado.
Empazinado. I haven't done any Mexico games, so I haven't practiced that. I should have done.
Empazinadio.
Okay.
It's really hard to say.
Anyway, Bulgaria, that's not so hard to say. It hasn't got many R's in it, so I'm okay with that one. And looking exquisite, as always. Look at these pictures.
Oh, now you're overusing exquisite.
Okay, I'll go back to beautiful at some point, if you like.
Mexico does look absolutely beautiful. Nice pyramid there. Was it
a nice pyramid? We go for beautiful, exquisite, and now we're using nice.
One of the Dan's facts is that I think was that Mexico is one of the biggest pyramids in the world.
Yeah, it has a lot of
Apologies, Dan, if
stuff.
you're out there, and I'm misremembering.
Yeah, the player we were just talking about, of course, says that his 3 favourite places are... I'm just going to butcher all these words and just do the best I can. I'm trying, all right? Taquerias, which are places where they buy tacos. So that sounded bad. So I just keep talking. What else is happening?
Let's see. Let's see the matchups coming up. It's going to be Silent Storm versus Yonas first. Rogue versus Warrior. Yonas passing up on the Rogue. That's really sad to me. Last week we saw Empezinadio play Miracle Rogue in his game against a Quest Rogue, and he had this amazing comeback. It looked like the Quest Rogue was going to win, but he managed to, with Undercity Hucksters, get exactly the damage he needed. He got an Eviscerate or a Cold Blood or something, just squeezed in the win. So I'm disappointed to see that Mexico are not bringing Rogue today.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Rogue, though.
I know
they play fun Rogue. We've seen a Tyler Rogue earlier.
You and Dan did. I missed it.
You missed it. Oh my
bad.
goodness! Way too much ice cream coffee.
I was too busy casting all the Ysera games, you know. So.
Yeah, there's been a lot of those today as well. Silent Storm loves his nature. He can go to the Black Sea or to the mountains to witness that nature. And he says that Bulgaria is very rich in such stuff. So very whatever the word is, diverse.
And Yonas likes the Beatles, according to the poster behind him.
What, is like the Nature Beatles, or?
No, the band.
Okay.
Very famous band from the...
I don't do music.
The Beatles?
Sure, even I've heard the Beatles.
Let's just move on from that very quick. Okay, that's a relief. All right, I think the first game is spinning up. We're going to have Mexico versus Bulgaria, Pirate Warrior versus Quest Rogue.
Yeah, and it's just one of the age-old matchups now, age-old being 2 months or so, and this is a particularly bad matchup for the Rogue, as they don't really have any way of dealing with being slapped about.
It is a bad matchup for the Rogue, though we saw, again, I think this was last week, Hunter Ace with his Quest Rogue, and very good use of Glacial Shards, freezing the face at the right time, being able to take the win there. So it is doable.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially when you get the Glacial Shards. Just keep things going, bounce them around, and maybe Swashbuckler can sometimes do something a bit naughty. Get you something to help deal with the pirates.
Ali Armorsmiths, for example.
Ali Armorsmiths would be pretty handy, yeah.
Yeah. That kind of thing.
Decent looking starting hand here. You probably get rid of the Bilefin just because you want it later. It's weird, right, the Bilefin, because obviously it slows things down. He's actually already mulliganed. But also, you don't really want to give it away until after they become 5/5s. Meanwhile, this looks like a bad hand, but these hands develop really well for Pirate Warrior over time. Glacial Shard's a great pickup here for Bulgaria.
There is one bounce he could do with a Shadow Step as well, just to make sure he gets that whenever he wants it. But for now, I think Swashbuckler or the Quest is going to end up being the play.
Yeah, that's interesting because they've got to decide whether they want to occupy the board or whether they want to get the Quest down, or do both at the same time. And I think they're going to coin out the Swashbuckler. They're just going to wait. Quite often against aggressive decks, it's worth.
Everyone in the audience give a great big R for Janus, who just
I can't do ours.
Oh dear.
Anyway, Patches the Pirate, not only is it a bad pickup as normal, but it's particularly bad this time around because the South Sea Captain was their turn 3 play.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, the Captain to 2/2 Patches is often really good. But this time, they're going to have very little to do on turn 3.
Yeah, it's going to slow them down significantly. Bulgaria, on the other hand, now have 2 Swashbucklers in hand. So they only need 2 bouncers, and they can complete the quest with that very sneaky 1-drop. How's he going to do this, though? So you could play one Swashbuckler and then coin out the Youthful Brewmaster. Could play both and presume that one lives, though that's a little bit risky. Could play one with Glacial Shards.
Yeah, I think you like to get them going. I think you want to see what you get, and if you're going to do that, you should do it now in case you pick up a weird card like, I know, Equality. That's not quite how it works with Warriors, but maybe you pick up a Brawl or something strange, and you need to plan ahead of how you want to use it.
Or something like a Sleep with the Fishes. Yeah, something weird like
with the fish.
Gonna make use of the Balefin Tide Hunter instead. I like this. Potentially blocks the Fiery War Axe, although Bulgaria will be expecting Patches one way or another. They don't know whether it's in the hand or whether it's going to be summoned by a pirate, but it's by turn 3 a Patches is usually going to hit the board.
This is a real mess for Mexico, and they are indeed having to just develop this Frothing Berserker and expect a load of stuff to happen next turn.
Preparation could allow this quest to go into overdrive and complete very, very quickly.
Yeah, preparation. It's not just it allows the quest to be completed quickly, but the fact you can play it with a big wide board before these pirates have got established. What are we even saying here? The rogue has managed to go wide enough, and if it does that against pirates are quite weak against wide boards. Quick completed quest, which is what we're going to get, has put Bulgaria into a fantastic position.
Cleave as well, pretty strong tool against Pirate Warrior. Maybe he doesn't do enough damage to most of the minions, but can help the rogue's smaller minions clean up the pirates.
Pirates here just not able to get a huge amount down. Captain into Patches seems tempting. Patches into Cultist is also tempting to keep that weapon ticking along. But they do have another War Axe in hand, and that might put them off.
Yeah, they've got a lot of damage. It's just working out the right way of using it. I do like Captain plus Patches here, I think. Captain plus Patches, weapon goes into the 3/2.
And stick the Frothing Berserker into the face for a lot.
Right.
I saw your maths last game with 1 million to 10 million, so I'm just going to use a lot and a very lot.
It would be 5.
Sure. I believe you.
Presuming that he makes those specific trades.
Yeah, and he's going to. So it's going to be 5. Assuming he decides to go face. We've got to go face at some point, so we presume that he will. Bosh, and he does.
Igneous Elemental, a little bit too slow against Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, completing the quest seems order of the day,
actually,
but not quite there.
So, Bulgaria can guarantee that the Frothing dies, and I think they can use Cleave to do that. If you trade the Patches into Patches, hit the 2/1 into the Frothing, then it just leaves the South Sea Captain on 1 health. Is there a better way of doing things? Start with playing Swashbuckler, I guess, because you're playing one this turn one way or another.
You can dagger down the Patches and then everything works out nicely.
Ah, that's true, that works as well.
But you end up with nothing on the board and you're hitting yourself in the face against pirates. So not necessarily the best, but it is a way of doing it.
If they wanted to play it risky, they could then prep out the Cleave, play both Swashbuckler.
Oh, okay.
It's like you said earlier, Pirate Warriors struggle to go wide. So prep out the Cleave, play both Swashbucklers here, you've got a wide board, you get more stuff. The problem is you've got no way of then bouncing one.
And you can tell the decision wasn't made quickly because ordering here, coining out the Swashbuckler last, usually a sign of a little bit of either hesitation or miscommunication in the teams.
Rust Knuckles, not exactly what you want. Again, irrelevant buffing these cards before they all get put at 5/5 anyway. 1 mana short to play War Axe Corsair.
Right, that would be really pleasant if you were a Mexican, but...
unpleasant if you're Bulgarian.
Yeah, it would be pretty unpleasant.
Brass Knuckles, just to remind you what this does, it's a fairly weak weapon, not much of an improvement over the Rogue Hero power, but every time the Rogue would attack with it, minion in the hand would get buffed by 1/1. It's one of the Grimy Goons cards that came out in Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. But again, if a minion gets a 1/1 buff and then gets turned into a 5/5, the buff was just irrelevant.
Oh, that's a bit sad.
Yeah. Poor Goons.
Yeah, the Goons haven't had the best of it so far, but
They've still got another year.
we have noticed that, you know, I think everybody's noticed that things get a little left behind. They tend to get a nice buff some point. So
Yeah.
I predict that we're going to see plenty of the Grimy Goons going forward, which is a phrase I never thought I was going to say when I grew up. I'll grow up one day and find out if it's true.
Especially at your job.
So this is the problem when you start running out of stuff with pirates, is it's easy to deal with, and you start relying on picking up Arcanite Reapers or Leroys.
Swashbuckler into Prep Vanish is an option here. It would mean that you can complete the quest next turn. You can then replay the Swashbuckler this turn and then activate it next turn. You're just returning a minion to the hand that can get played again for free, though.
This is where the early use of the Bilefin could end up being a problem for them.
Yeah.
No taunt to stop the beatdown. The beatdown's not particularly beaty or downy right now.
Gonna go with it, though.
Yeah, it seems reasonable to me.
I guess Glacial Shard could be played this turn instead of the Swashbuckler.
I think you save that to freeze face on a bigger weapon, but
Yeah.
maybe you're right.
I'm just thinking it means that something guaranteed sticks. You play that,
Sure.
freeze the opponent's
Yeah.
face. Next turn you play the Swash, you get given the quest, you activate the quest.
Yeah, that's what they're going to go with. Oops. There's a
Wow.
whole lot of hate coming in here, though, now.
Oh my goodness. Even Giannis looks disgusted with what he's doing right now.
Yeah, and so he should. It's a fairly interesting decision, because if that Glacial Shard gets bounced even once, the investment in just trading into it now will not pay for itself. Like, if you trade into it now and stop it bouncing, it would do so much more damage. How much damage will this deckhand do over the course of the game? 4 or 6? How much damage could that shard stop? Well, if it stops the weapon twice, that's 8. So trading could be the right move here over the course of this game.
Now, hang on a second.
Okay.
We had a weird game a while back in the Hearthstone Global Games where Southsea Deckhand was unable to attack. And
We
is it
did.
just me, or does Giannis look like he's trying to attack with this Southsea Deckhand?
Ah. It's interesting. I'd forgotten that was a thing. And yeah, he is. He's hovering over the Glacial Shard and can't attack. And that previous game didn't matter because I think it was the Philippines. I might be wrong.
Yes?
And they just had a million things on the
They
board.
won anyway.
And they won anyway. But this is far closer. And yeah, I mean.
Oh dear.
So that's interesting, that bug, because I've never seen it happen apart from here, where I've
Yeah.
seen it twice.
Shadow Step pickup, not necessary anymore. It can generate an extra card later on. But yeah, now.
By the way, Gore Howl could be handy.
Yeah.
It's just 7 surprise damage to the face.
Now, that is a trade that would not have happened
Right.
if the Southsea Deckhand was able to get rid of the Glacial Shard.
And nor with this Shadow Step. This is pretty rough on Mexico right now. It's also pretty rough on Italy, who aren't even playing.
Right.
Because Mexico are already through, and if Bulgaria win, they put Italy in a pretty awkward spot.
Right.
So, I mean, if Italy win as well later, they'll be fine. But,
Well, then I'm not too happy about this either, Neil.
well, tough.
Yeah, it's okay for Mexico because, as you said, they're already through. So on the bright side, it's happened to them in a game that is kind of inconsequential.
Right. But it's concerning.
But I get the feeling, again, screens in the corner of my eye, I get the feeling that Mexico are waiting for some sort of ruling on what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in this position, ever rope as much as you possibly can.
We're,
And see where you're at, and we are going to take
We're cutting
a
this game
moment
short.
to see what the ruling is, I think.
Yeah. Oh, are we? Yeah, we are. Okay. Oh, such a disappointing turn of events for Mexico. Like we said, inconsequential for them anyway. It doesn't matter if they win, but they still want to win, you know?
And I saw on the screen there, he did ask the question during that turn. It was obvious what he was trying to do. He's highlighting the two things. We can see what he wants to do, and it did make a difference.
I was trying to pretend I was being smart and spotting it, but yeah, you're right.
Sorry, yeah.
We could see it on a screen in the corner, him saying, I can't use my pirate. It was a nice little callback to something that happened previously, though. And we're just waiting for an admin decision now. It's not up to us. We're the messenger in this case.
Yeah, the rules are pretty
Don't
specific.
choose
I
us.
just happen to not know what they are because it's such a weird one. And so we will see how that goes. And anyway, so nothing to see here. Why did I actually buy him that? We are hearing we are going to have a rematch.
Can that happen? Is that allowed?
He's done it.
Right, yeah, we're going to get a rematch. We're going to replay that game. So, weird bug. Can't explain it. Doesn't matter. Going to start again. Let's pretend that never happened.
Let's pretend that never happened.
And let's pretend that never happened. And let's pretend you never got it for him. He never had a
Sorry.
birthday. That there's also, and there were never millions of facts coming. We need to pretend a lot of stuff never happened today.
But what is going to happen is we are going to have some more actual Hearthstone. Because of the bug, I think we're going to have a rematch looking at the screen, listening to what we're saying, hearing. And honestly, I'm just completely thrown because I have no idea why there's a guy walking around here with a fidget spinner.
I guess on the plus side, at least it was Dan Gaskin. At least it's
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was just someone who broke in.
It was Gaskin. There's no one unexpected wandering around. There's
Yet.
There's no Murlocs or anything, you know. It's absolutely fine. We can just take a moment and get over that.
I sort of says this to me sometimes, that he's like terrified of the things that live in my mind, but whatever possessed you to decide that Murlocs might be walking around the building?
I think I pointed to Neil the Murloc, but he's off cam slightly. You can't quite... There we go. Just shift him into... Oh, okay. We're going to just have to talk Stone for a couple of minutes while we sort things out. I think Bulgaria, not entirely sure what just happened. Obviously, on their side, they didn't know there was a bug. So they're asking, why do we have to rematch? Admin are now doing their thing and explaining to them in a moment. I'm sure we'll just play this game again.
All right, so let's have a look at something that lying around. Morgalad, I think, is one of the players who has captured the imagination of this entire tournament.
He's captured the hearts of the casters.
Like, he's always got the flag behind him, and I think he might have won every single week, if not nearly every single week.
Yeah, he may have missed one.
And he always waves the flag, gets excitable. So I'm now going to completely butcher another pronunciation, but we're all used to that by now every week anyway. His favourite place is Veliko Tarnovo, I'm going with. And I'm going to use his own words, which I'm reading. I like to actually memorise these things, but I want to use his words for words because it's so beautifully written. He says, "Every stone you walk upon in this city whispers a little bit of history covered in heroism and glory." I don't think you can say anything much nicer about a city. That is the city of the Tsars, which was an important medieval city in Bulgaria.
Okay.
Apparently, if I didn't say everything incorrectly.
Right. I love hearing a little bit about the culture of the different countries and the favourite things. It's something we've been talking about a little bit more over the last couple of weeks.
Right.
I think it's something that I personally, as a caster, am enjoying, as well as experiencing the Hearthstone game.
Yeah, we actually get to see the world from the comfort of our own studio here in good old Leer, Poland.
We get to hear the facts from Gaskin. I know he's been learning a lot.
Has he?
All right, we are going to, unfortunately, go to a very short break, just while we get this smoothed over with Bulgaria and Mexico, but we'll be back in just a moment to finish off this series.
We're almost there. Quiet down, everyone. This is not like any of our previous expeditions. This will be far more ambitious. We're stepping into a land of primordial wonder. Infused with astonishing elemental energies. The plant life here holds very unusual properties. So don't touch anything. And while you may be excited to see the local fauna, you might want to make sure they don't see you. Because their powers of adaptation are devastating. Make no mistake, we will be tested at every turn. But we stay on our guard, we might just survive. Now then, are you ready? Then let's journey into Ongoro Crater.
back to the Hearthstone Global Games where a whole bunch of things didn't just happen. There are no fidget spinners, there are no Dan Gaskin facts, there are no Dan Gaskins, there are no bugs. We're going to jump straight in with the next game. It's Pirate Warrior versus Quest Rogue.
Game 1 of the series between Bulgaria and Mexico. We're going to start afresh and just get on with our lives here. The winners, if they are Bulgaria, they will have they will go through. Mexico are already through, but they still want to fight for their lives anyway. They've got a point to prove because they're one of the teams that were a bit dismissed before the event started. So they want to win as many matches as possible to prove us wrong.
Definitely showing a lot of the Americas regions teams are some of the strongest, kind of debunking the whole EU versus NA theories that used to be so agreed upon.
Yeah, and this is, as we said before, it is Rogue versus Pirate Warrior, and this time Mexico have a much better draw. It is a rematch because of a bugged card, unfortunately. Okay, good hand for both teams, I believe, from what we saw there. The quest is going to get completed in extra quick time, most likely, but they're going to need to, because they're going to get punched around.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty tough. Double boar plus gadgets and ferryman. I'd rather complete the quest with Firefly if I can, but so having 2 different copies of a minion to then bounce does make it more likely that you complete it faster. So
this removes the threat straight away, keeps the dagger up for next turn. It's like developing a 1-attack minion and killing something, like developing a 1-2 with charge, basically. And yeah, Giannis now is going to just do Pirate Warrior things. Next turn's going to be a bit bad for him, though, but the turn after should be spectacular. And
oh, Igneous Elemental now makes the quest a lot easier to complete, though. I said before I'd rather do it with Fireflies and Flame Elementals. Now Bulgaria are going to have the option to do that. They can drop Caverns below, drop the Firefly, hit the weapon into patches, and the next turn put down Igneous Elemental.
yeah, they will be up against a 5-3 Bloodsail Raider, which could be awkward. But on 26 health already, that's one of the downsides when you do have to start clearing things up with your weapon, of course.
Yeah, 2 mana 5/3s. Awkward is a pretty good word for those. Awkward when you don't have any.
I mean, the Rogue just doesn't have any removal outside of turning everything into a 5/5 and sort of hitting things with it.
Where's Backstab? Where's Backstab?
Double bore, there might not be a backstab. There still can be, there are certain slots that can go missing, but I think we saw some swashbucklers in the previous game as well.
Yep.
And so the chance that backstab's got space is pretty small.
Alright, so as I said, quest goes down, Firefly. Next up, Igneous Elemental. Quest is going to be completed somewhere around turn 4, turn 5. Now, I was saying earlier that upgrades are no good unless there's already a Fiery War Axe or something present.
Here we go.
This seems like a pretty strong turn, and the fact that Giannis can then curve into Naga Corsair is even stronger.
So much damage. He takes down the minion there instead of going face is interesting.
Oh, he's just going to turn this into an Arcanite Reaper next turn, though.
I mean, sure, but sure. Could have had Silence all down to 21 with plenty of damage around, so that's interesting. Is playing possibly around that backstab to protect his 6-3.
Yep, that seems about right. I don't think we saw Stone to Spore before we did the regame, so it's not something that Mexico will be aware of. Therefore, they're probably still considering the backstab.
Protecting the 6-3 does allow the Naga Corsair to do its work, of course.
So is Igneous Elemental a little bit too passive this turn, do you think?
I mean, you're facing 10 in the face. You're effectively on 15 health after the end of the next turn. You've got to work out, if you play Igneous Elemental, you get hit in the face for 10 and something else is developed. We can set up your Naga Corsair, which will make the damage 11. What's your turn after that? And we're going to find out. It may be a case of they're damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Oh my goodness. Naga Corsair going to buff up the weapon. 2 Korkon Elites. Is Korkon Elite better than Naga Corsair because he has 2 of them? You can push 4 damage
I
this turn.
think you just do this and get the extra 1 point of damage.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 turns just hit you with Korkon Elite, which can't be frozen both times.
Right.
No way of freezing the things in the hand.
As a vanish, it's not that relevant though. Bulgaria can trade in the Igneous Elemental, then trade in a Stone to Spore, get the Flame Elemental, start playing those, but it's all too slow.
Yeah, we can see plenty of damage already happening.
It's just lethal for Giannis next turn.
Right.
5 damage with the minion, 5 for the weapon, 4 for the Korkon Elite. That's just 14.
That's how 14 works, and despite the fact the quest is nearly completed, turns out if you complete the quest on turn 5 and you're dead, it's not enough.
All right, well, that very fast game ending on turn 5 follows the regame. Yinus celebrating in front of his Beatles poster.
Yeah, he's just given a substantial beating to somebody, so that makes a lot of sense that they would be his favourites.
And next up, it's going to be Golem Pachaga versus Empazanadio. Now, as I said a moment ago, last week Empazanadio brought Miracle Rogue, but this week Yinus already passed up on Rogue. So they're not going to be playing Miracle Rogue this week. But it was a very impressive performance, and I am looking forward to seeing what Empazanadio does bring.
I did start talking about what he liked at the start of the show, and then things went a bit weird, so I stopped.
Like fidget spinner walkers behind us.
Yeah, still scared of that. He also likes what I read as a C note, it might be a kenote, which is a type of sinkhole which contains groundwater. It's like caves, and you go diving and stuff in there. I always thought a C note was like a $100 bill, but shows what I know. And he also likes a Mayan ruins. He likes everything, basically, this guy. And he just likes to see nice things by the look of it.
Just likes things.
He likes nice things.
I like things too.
Do you? What sort of things do you like, Dan?
I like Paladin and I like Shaman, which are the two classes that are going to come up now. Golem Pachaga on the Paladin, Empazanadio on the Shaman. Sounds like we're just going to have Evolve Shaman as usual versus Paladin of some
Paladin
kind as usual. Paladin, one of the most popular classes in the Hearthstone global games. In fact, I think, according to my stats, I don't actually have numbers off the top of my head right now. I think Paladin has been the most picked class over the last 2 weeks.
We were talking earlier about how it's stabilised a bit. Even now that there is sort of a fairly stable build plus UK Paladin, if you like, they're still similar enough. The whole spectrum of Paladin we used to talk about has settled down into one or two distinct lumps.
Easy UK Paladin?
Easy.
I don't know why we've added easy to that. Just easy every day.
I mean, it was just added as soon... I mean, it was on Watchstone, which was on Science Channel. And basically, the word got out that Jumbo made #1 legend with this Paladin. Everyone just started... I think Fino had it on first, then it went on to Saiyan. And they're just saying, easy, UK, easy, Paladin, easy. Because why not? Why not?
Well, you know, easy decks to play, easy decks to win with. Why not? I don't mind. I wouldn't mind playing some of those myself.
I don't think they're that easy to play or win with. I think you have to be Jumbo or very clever person to win.
Start of a season, lots of good players, and the still not even legend yet. I could do with some easy decks to beat them with, personally.
Seems good to me.
Maybe I should give UK Paladin a try.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should.
Maybe you should try Big Druid. That's also easy.
Yeah, Big Druid. The thing is, Big Druid isn't like ideal laddering for the start of a season, is it? You kind of want to play something a little bit faster.
Really?
Yeah.
You in a hurry to get to legend?
Yeah, got to get those wins in, got to get those win streaks, got to at least hit rank 5 as quickly as possible, and then you can start the slow grind.
Oh, I like to the only time I like to mess around is the start of the season because there's no hurry, and then when it just gets easier, I just go through all the people that I'm better than, all 3 of them.
All right, well, next game starting up right now. Let's do this. It is going to be, by the looks of it, Token Shaman versus, that's an Ivory Knight.
So that's going to be a slow Paladin, I can tell you that much. This is an interesting matchup for me to cast because conventional wisdom is that the Paladin is a fairly strong favourite in this one. My experience is that the Shaman just kills them.
Okay.
Like, you just spam the board, Bloodlust, win, and the Paladin spends too much time not being able to kill all your stuff. You do need a decent draw as the Shaman, but I do feel that it's the favourite.
It depends on the start, right? So what Pyromancer that Bulgaria have just picked up there, very important card. If they can get an early Doomsayer off and actually get it to proc as well, that's important.
Just turn 2 Doomsayer really shuts Shaman down because you can rarely deal with it and they can't play anything. And then the Paladin does start to play good minions. I'm not saying it's a massive favourite for the Shaman or anything. I'm not completely out of touch with reality. But I do feel that the Paladin is overrated in this match.
Well, you know, Lorinda metas are a thing.
Yeah, I have been known to prove that I walk into some odd meta games, but interesting to see how this one develops. It's certainly an interesting matchup because the Shaman has to identify when it can go all in and when it can't.
Wild Pyromancer plus Equality, both present in Bulgaria's hand. This is one of those matchups where sometimes it does need to be played, that combo on turn 4, just to reset the board and then sustain and keep going.
Mexico need to work out how they're going to get in and how many they want to get in terms of totem rolls. They really want this thing from below to end up costing 4 on turn 4.
Yep.
That's a big aim. It's quite often worth defending the coin for that. But when you have the Jade Claws, you sometimes don't have time to roll those totems.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of options for Empazanadio. That's the problem. He's got Jade Claws, as you said. He's got Bloodsail Corsair. He's got Flame Elemental. All of these cards can be played nice and early over the next few turns. But you're right, that thing from below being played for free later can be a huge boon for the Shaman. So it will be interesting to see if he does decide to just totem up next turn. Meanwhile, Bulgaria, looks like they're just going to have to drop the Hydrologist.
One of the interesting things in this matchup as well is the Peacekeeper's not very good. It's good because it's a 3-3. That's a thing. It's an okay body.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really do anything against 0-3 totems apart from make them better. So it can be a bit awkward, and most of the other stuff's just small and...
It's pretty good against things from below.
It is.
Pretty good against evolved doppelgangsters a lot of the time.
The problem is, and you're entirely right, of course you are, you quite often need it just to have something on the board, otherwise the Shaman starts going wide and threatening that Bloodlust. And this is why I feel that the Paladin is overrated in this matchup, just because it has so many questions to answer, and its answers are kind of slow a lot of the time. Like you say, that Doomsayer can be a big difference maker.
Speaking of the Evolve, there it is now. Golem Pachaga picks up Getaway Kodo, so an interesting thing he may consider doing is actually dropping the Pyromancer, playing the Getaway Kodo just as a spell to sweep the board. Then when Empazanadio trades into the Pyromancer, he gets it back to his hand. He can play it again later with equality.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. A little bit terrifying, but it would work.
Well, there you go. Jade Claw is going to come down now, not the hero power. The weapon trades squarely into the Hydrologist.
Yeah, putting off playing the Bloodsail Corsair means that Rallying Blade would be dealt with pretty easily.
Yeah, and if not that True Silver, and if not that Tyrion, there are a lot of weapons in the Paladin deck, so it always makes a lot of sense to hold on to it, you're right.
Now it's decision time for Bulgaria. Are they going to go with the play you suggested? It looks like they might, but when they've done it, they've got no other things to do except they have got a fairly decent curve now.
Okay. Another Getaway Kodo is there. I can't help but feel like against the Shaman you want to take some noble sacrifices. Repentance pretty useless because there are so many cards in the deck that do just have 1 or 2 health anyway.
It is. It may just be slightly higher priority than normal just because the Pyromancer in hand. But yeah, they're just going to go with double Kodo and grind this one out. They're in an okay spot to do that.
Okay. Back over to Mexico. There's a Sea Giant.
It is indeed a giant from the sea.
Card that is regularly being teched into this deck, particularly good in the mirror. Pretty good against more aggressive Paladin decks as well. Not so great against the control builds.
It's not. I do feel that overall it's okay though, because you do try and go wide against control multiple times, and one of those times you just drop down a 6-mana 8/8 at the end of it. Even if it's not particularly cheap.
It's true.
It's still an 8/8 that could be useful. I do agree it's not that good against control builds, but we're seeing it most of the time now. I'm more surprised when it's not in the deck than when it is at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
you think it's
so.
more than 50% right now?
I think so. At least in competitive and high-level play.
Yep. Okay. So the weapon going to go into the Hydrologist. Going to proc the Getaway Kodo. Infinite value, as people like to say whenever this happens. Though it is just a 2/2 that's been bounced back to the hand.
That's infinite value as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
I am a man of the people after all.
Strictly it is infinite value, that's right.
And the great thing with this board as far as Mexico are concerned is it's just not a board that needs... It's just not like any investment in it. Double Pyromancer though.
Ooh, yeah, and now Getaway Kodo with the more Pyromancers actually might be worthwhile. It gets rid of 2 minions. There is a second Wild Pyromancer that can be guaranteed play with the equality later on. So
Equality Primordial Drake might be a thing if this goes long enough as well. It's starting to take a while.
If Hydrologist comes down here, then it allows, as long as he gets a different secret, one that's not Getaway Kodo, which he is going to get a different secret, means that later on, Golem Pachaga can play Pyromancer and 2 secrets to clear a whole board.
Redemption there is going to allow all sorts of shenanigans with the Pyromancers.
Yeah.
And, you know, for all what I said at the start, where I think that the Shaman can put a lot of pressure on, so far that pressure has not emerged.
Yeah, Pyromancers with 1 mana spells can do some things, and oh boy. So, Flame Elemental, Coin, Sea Giant, or Flame Elemental, Bloodsail Corsair, Sea Giant, even without the coin, because of patches, is an option here.
That's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff to put into Equality's way, but do you mind if Golem Pachaga Equality?
Yeah, you mind.
You do mind?
Yeah, you don't want to lose that entire board.
But then you come back and you coin out Aya next turn.
I think you put a chunk of this stuff down. I just don't think you put the whole lot down.
So maybe just Blood Cell, Corsair, and Sea Giant?
I don't think you invest in the Sea Giant.
Okay.
That's where I'm going with this. I think you wait for the Sea Giant for one more time. I'm not going to complain if they do.
It's just so juicy because of the patches with the Sea Giant. Oh, it's like you just casted an Innovate.
Yeah, he's going to go for it.
Pays everything, all right. Gonna eat up the Equality Pyromancer here, and the next turn, Mexico can coin out the Iron. That's why I don't mind this, because
Sure.
it's a good refill.
The reason I wouldn't do it this way is because I feel that you asked enough of a question without it, but it was weak to Consecration on its own, whereas this is only weak to the 2-card combo. But Bulgaria have shown they haven't got much going on.
Also, Bulgaria are able to play Equality, then Pyromancer, and then a Secret, if they want to clear the entire board and still have the Pyromancer survive.
Sure. It's definitely a thing they can do, and it's a thing they will do in that order, I would have thought. Especially to be a Getaway Kodo or a Redemption again as well.
It's the type of play that a lot of lower level players miss, that you don't need to play Equality with the Pyromancer and sacrifice the Pyromancer. You can actually Equality first, reduce all of the other minions to 1, then play the Pyromancer, and then get the Whirlwind effect.
Yeah, seems reasonable to me. It's partly on Earth for saying Pyro Equality all the time, so people just assume that's the way you do it.
Yeah. Well, that is the obvious combo, right?
On this occasion, no, this is going to be the clear with the Secret. And yeah, not really done much damage yet, have the Mexicans on this particular game.
Oh, Jade Claws might be tempting here. It can be played with the Primal Fin Totem to clear up the Wild Pyromancer.
If they knew that wasn't Noble Sacrifice, then it'd be an instant play.
Right.
If it's Noble Sacrifice, then it's not so instant.
Well, Redemption's just as bad, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's actually worse than Noble Sacrifice,
Right.
because Mexico take 1 more damage this way.
Yep. And it's back. But Primal Fin, I think if you Primal Fin, I think you coin Totem as well to get that thing from below into wholesome range. But if you don't...
Yeah, I think because the Pyromancer survives, you don't want to throw out the Primal Fin. Just trade straight into it for free. Oh, look, a Doomsayer. Is that... Wait, that actually might not be bad this turn.
I mean, it's not going to get much better.
Problem is, it doesn't set anything up. If Yana Pachoga could wait and play it on turn 7 just to set up one of his 8-drops, be it Primordial, Drake, or even a Tyrion or a Rag Lightlord that gets picked up, then that's ideal.
It is. I think this might be a good time to play it, though. It's not. It's also not. It is actually blocking Doppelgang's Evolve if you play it now as well. Because there's coin in hand, and they know there's coin in hand.
Yeah, okay. I don't mind that. You equip the Rallying Blade as well to set up. Could consider the Getaway Kodo to fill out the curve. Okay.
No, I don't think so. But
I'm surprised he didn't go with Rallying Blade. Playing around weapon removal, it looks like. Second Blood Cell, Corsair, I guess.
yeah, so going to stick, well, at least one into the face. They're going to roll a Totem, and that will be all for this turn. No Devolve in hand, probably only one in the deck because that Sea Giant, maybe even none.
Every night. So the situation's looking fine for Mexico at the moment because he's got so much stuff in his hand still. But the thing is, we're reaching the late game here, and the Paladin just flourishes so much, the Control Paladin. So many board clears. Primordial Drake on its own causes devastating amounts of damage.
Yeah, and there's so many cards in their deck they can pull out now that will help them as well. Ragnaros, there's Tyrion, there's Tarim, although Tarim's not always a big thing in this particular match because the Shaman tends to be wider.
Right.
But you can make it get rid of the Doppelgangster stuff at least. Because that will come at the end of this game. His Doppelgangster Evolve will happen, and you just turn them into 3/3s and say, well, that wasn't that exciting.
Yeah. Kodo. Okay.
So this is the turn where I think Mexico will go for their second big board. They've seen one Pyro Equality go, and so now it's time to challenge again, I feel. Now, how they go about it, I don't know.
There's a time limit on it as well, because eventually Bulgaria pick up the second Equality combo.
That's fine, though, because as long as you make a third board.
Okay, sure.
So they don't have to be totally crazy here, but they can if they want. It'll be interesting to see which way they choose to go with it.
Patch is already gone, so Blood Cell Corsair isn't going to launch that thing out of the cannon. Primal Fin Totem, it's just awkward because the 4/4 trade straight into it. So I guess you could Totem and play Thing from below.
Totem, Primal Fin. I think the question might be, do you play 2 Primal Fins?
And then Hero Power and then Thing from below?
Yeah.
Becomes free, that's what you always wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it costing 4 mana on turn 4, but after that you do need to get really cheap. One of the things you can do is just coin into totem, play another totem, and just get it down there really early.
Also, picking up Holy Light from the Ivory Knight means that it healed Bulgaria by 2. I expect Mexico to think it's an equality.
Sure, that's a really good call.
So actually, yeah, not even going to play both
Sure.
Primal Fin totems here. Going to just hold some resources back, playing around the imaginary equality which is there in Golem Pachaga's hand.
That's a really good spot. And now Golem Pachaga not having too much fun. Lots of options though. It all depends how much they want to prepare for the turn where Doppelganger Evolve happens. There's this game going on now where they don't know if Mexico have got it or not. And
Yeah.
Mexico aren't going to let them know because they're going to keep trying to sort of push and prod, trying to get the removal used.
Well, them trying really hard to play around an equality that's not actually there could definitely work to their detriment.
Could. They're still putting up fairly aggressive looking boards though.
Okay, Stonehill Defender helps a lot.
It really does. It's going to defend this totem one more turn. I mean, that totem can get taken down by the Pyromancer, but really, you don't want to use your last Pyromancer on this.
Now, it also keeps generating more value, which is vital for Empazanadio. He's going to struggle. He's going to struggle to keep up with everything that Paladin has over the next few turns. Paladin might even have a Ysera. It wouldn't be the first one we've seen today.
It wouldn't be the first, and I doubt it will be the last.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
Alright, golems are indeed a girl's best friend. They're pretty much everybody's best friend, golems.
They're definitely your best friend.
I like golems. They make me happy when skies are grey.
That's nice. That's sweet. So, Pyromancer Consecration is actually a pretty nice way of clearing up the board here. It gets rid of everything Empazanado has now, and then the Drake trades into the 4/4 Jade Golem.
Yep.
But that's using up the rest of your equality combo cards.
The really big problem about using up the rest of your combo is you just give Mexico the green light to just spam everything they've got. Because you know they've got a handful of stuff to spam.
Well, as far as they know, there could be a second Drake and an equality.
Sure.
There could be a second Consecration and an
Sure.
equality. Again, Mexico, for a while, will have the read that that Holy Knight is a Holy Light. I keep calling it Holy Knight. It came from the Ivory Knight, but it's a Holy Light. They'll keep thinking that that is an equality until the situation where Bulgaria would 100% use it if it was one.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, a lot of the time, one of the interesting things about the Shaman deck is you don't have to worry too much about what they've got to deal with your stuff. You just know they can deal with your stuff.
Right.
It's really nice to have the exact reads, and you obviously try to as much as possible. But you just constantly keep asking this question of, can you deal with Bloodlust? Can you deal with Evolved Doppelganger? And you keep asking it every single turn.
So now Empazanado is smiling because that's a 4-mana card. That's obviously a Consecration, which goes with the equality that the first Ivory Knight obviously picked up.
Might be Blessing of Kings.
I think it might be Blessing of Kings.
But you're right, it feels like a quality
it was a
Consecration.
snap pick, though, wasn't it? This one.
Yeah. It does indeed feel like a quality Consecration.
Nice bluff, I think. Obviously, that is the equality, the Consecration, but there's...
I mean, Consecration is amazing against totems and fireflies and all this stuff anyway.
It's nice to see a game where the mind games that Ivory Knight can play really does come into effect.
Yeah, I mean, Discover, I think this is one of the best designed cards we've had, is Ivory Knight overall. It was the first really good Discover card, I believe. And it set the tone for Discover. Because it was good, it meant that Discover kept coming along, I think.
Alright, well, Mexico going to get rid of the Primordial Drake for now. I believe that's a getaway Kodo, though, which is a problem for Mexico, as Primordial Drake causes so much grief for these wide-reaching Shaman decks.
And slowly but surely as well, Mexico's health total's sneaking down. So not yet, but in a couple of turns' time, not only are they going to be trying to make these wide boards, but they've got to just keep an eye out that they don't get killed on a reswing at some point.
Right.
But all they need, not all they need, but one thing that they really need right now is to just go Doppelganger Evolve, let their opponents clear it, and then just spam the board with fireflies and things, or do it the other way around, depending how they feel.
Yeah, they just need, ideally, they need to draw 2 Doppelgangsters and 1 more Evolve, and then they've got a hand that will keep resetting on the board. But they need that very, very soon. Still 16 cards left in the deck. Curator just allows Bulgaria to keep restocking Golem Pachaga doesn't need to worry at all about how many resources he's got left.
Interesting there that they played down the Peacekeeper because they've got the Kodo in hand. And so they're confident that they can deal with a board of things, and they're happy to make their own big board now.
Yeah.
A lot of the time you would wait in case Doppelgangster Evolve got nasty, and then you would just Outdoor Peacekeeper Kodo the nastiest of the nasties.
Right.
That was adult speak for...
Nastiest of the nasties.
Pretty sure that was an adult speak.
Those darn nasties.
50% chance of getting the Wrath of Air Totem if they want it to pair with his Maelstrom Portal, if that's any use to them.
Is it any use to them? That Curator is awkward to deal with, even with the extra damage from the spell
really
damage
is.
totem. I don't think Impezonado can get past it.
And this is where it's horrible when you play this deck. All you want to do is cast that Evolve and make your board into a nice board, but you know you're urgently needing other stuff. So what they're going to do is go wide, and they are actually going to do it.
All right. Okay.
Oh my...
Stormwind Champion. That is
Red Mana Worm as well. It is Stormwind Champion.
Okay.
Red Mana Worm as well, I think that is, with Maelstrom Portal in hand.
Haven't seen Stormwind Champion in a long time.
This just looks like an arena deck, but what a good arena deck it is.
Nice arena.
All those stats, like 2-drops are generally not very good in this situation.
Well, they are when they've got a 1/1 buff.
And it's got a 1/1 buff, and they actually got good ones anyway.
And you're right, Red Mana Worm is another one to instantly shout out. That card can single-handedly win games.
They've still got the coin.
Yeah. Coin Maelstrom Portal, suddenly that thing's got 7 attack. It's a 7/7! Almost.
7.
Unfortunately, Golem Pachaga is going to be able to do a lot of damage to this board. Let's dial the hype down a little bit.
No, I want to hype this board. It's a really good board.
Pyromancer plus Consecration is a 6 damage board clear.
Tell you what would be good about now would be Outdoor Peacekeeper and Stampeding Kodo.
Would it, or would that be a little bit too expensive? I don't know, maybe.
It might have been okay.
But 1 Consecration going to do the job just fine, clears up everything.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. Having that big
yeah.
board presence from the Peacekeeper allowed this to happen. And despite the fact that Evolve looked really good,
It was fun to get excited about it for a second.
here comes the Doppelgangster. Oh no.
Let's get back to reality.
Oh?
This is a 5/5.
I don't go there often.
This is a 5/5 Golem, right? So, Impezonado still got some stuff. He can Jade Lightning down the Curator, put a 5/5 on the board. Didn't get the Wrath of Air Totem, and I think this is a turn where he really needed it.
He did, and he needs to go all in now. I mean, we can see it's not going to end well for him when he does, but this is the point in the game where you've run out of things that are any good, and you just have to go for it. This hand is not going to generate two full boards of threats.
The thing is, he knows that Primordial Drake is there. That's a problem. So Impezonado is going to try and play around it. It came from the...
Yeah, I guess you might as well play around it. It's a good point.
It came from the Getaway Kodo, I think. Pretty sure that's the same one.
It did, and so you're right. He will actually have to play around it because there is 100% certainty that there's no point.
Oh. Okay. I have to be honest. I didn't think there was an Azoth in this deck.
It's so hard to tell because some people play Azoth with literally just Tyrion.
Yeah, because it's so good with Stone Defender, with Getaway Kodo, with Redemption. I don't think we've seen a single death rattle yet, so Azoth is useless at the moment.
It's still a 5/7 or 7/5 or something. I don't know what it is.
The thing is, ultimately, Golem Pachaga doesn't even need it to win this game. And there's the Doppelgangster, but Evolve already gone.
I think they can try and play everything they've got now, apart from the Doppelgangster, and have a 1 in 13 chance of drawing Evolve next turn. As you can see there from our lovely graphics underneath the cards.
Yeah. Very, very handy. Again, shout out to production for sorting that out for us about 3 weeks ago.
See, yeah, they're going to do the RNG effect first to see where they are. And they are in Tentacle of N'Zoth land, which isn't where anybody likes to go.
No, especially when you're a deck that thrives off of making lots of cheap minions. Giving your opponent an extra Arcane Explosion isn't necessarily what you want.
Oh dear.
Oh, look, there's a Tyrion.
Yeah, and the wheels have well and truly come off of this wagon.
Both Hydrologist's secrets are gone, but it just doesn't matter because Tyrion and then Tyrion again. Oh, sorry, Tyri 1 and Tyri 2 probably...
Where'd you get that from? Yeah.
Probably just about enough to win this game.
I can't really see how that's going to stop anything. Now Bulgaria just have to make sure they do everything efficiently.
I mean, the worst part for Mexico is that Holy Light's still there. So as far as they're concerned, there's still an equality, because I don't even think that Bulgaria would have played it in this time.
They're not even, Bulgaria's just not even bothered. They're just going to start hitting face. They found the place and they are going there.
Mostly. A little bit afraid of spell damage, and that pickup of the Maelstrom portal might indicate that they were right to be.
It's not evolve though.
It's not evolved though, is it?
So we can see that at the moment Tyrion plus Drake plus Consecration is 12. Seems like a good number when your opponent's on 12 health. Yeah, and Mexico give it up, and it goes to one game all. Bulgaria needing to win this to definitely go through. They could possibly afford a 3-2 loss, but that looks a bit grim. And so, trying to win one game all. Mexico not overly concerned in theory, but so far they seem to be bringing proper decks and taking it very seriously.
Pretty intense game. You said at the beginning it's hard for the Paladin to survive. If they do survive, they're in a great position. They can sustain. Just board clear after board clear. Hitting the Primordial Drake with the Getaway Coda was pretty huge as well. Both Consecrations, Pyromancers, they had everything they needed to clear the Shaman board over and over again, and never played that Holy Light. So, unless they watch the game back, Mexico are never going to know.
Oh well. OVG versus best UU. And it's going to be Mage versus the Shaman. Something we haven't seen much today.
So you read them backwards too then? Because yesterday I was saying, oh, for some reason I'm reading them right to left.
Yeah. It's global games. I just read them differently for
like
different countries.
Doing that. It's weird. But yes, okay. Mage versus Shaman. Now we've seen a few Mage mirror matches today, so this will be the first series in a while where we haven't seen that. Gaskin was saying that that's one of his favourite matchups to watch.
He would say that, right?
Do you dislike watching the Mage mirror?
When he first said it, I was like, why? Why would you want to watch that? But actually, I don't enjoy playing the mirror match as much, but I do enjoy watching two sides try to. Now he's explained it, like two sides circling. What mage are you playing? I'm not telling you. What mage are you playing? And watching that whole game sort of progress is actually fascinating when you can see both hands, I must admit.
So what about Mage versus Shaman?
Mage versus Shaman is bad for the Shaman, assuming it's a normal Shaman. It's really bad for the Shaman. The Mage just sits behind a block and looks like it's going to lose, and then goes Alex Straza, the block gets procced and hits you with 50. It's like really old school, plays like old school freeze mage.
It's very hard for the Shaman, especially if the Mage has the cards like Volcanic Potion, one of the more recent techs which have been added to a lot of Mage decks. Volcanic Potion is just so strong at clearing a Shaman board over and over again. Then Meteor, then a Flame Strike, some Mages have a Blizzard. Then the Shaman just runs out of stuff.
Yeah, the Mage does tend to be able to have to run the gauntlet a little bit. They have to assume they're not going to die to an Eater of Secrets, because it's not usually in the deck. And they do have to sort of let the block get procced the turn before they're going to win, and just... It feels like they're almost losing, but actually they're in complete control for most of the time.
All right, well, here we go. And double Primordial Glyph. I'm guessing Irvin G isn't going to want to keep both of these, but having one nice and early can be very helpful. On the other side of things, best Urda EU. That's not an opening hand you want.
I feel you only keep the Frostbolt as the Mage here because it's just going to be too cluttered. Frostbolt's really good at dealing with those 3 health totems that can do so much damage. Bulgaria will almost certainly chuck this all away. They might be tempted to keep the Ooze, but I doubt it because of the
for the turn 8.
I think it's just too long away.
Yeah, I think so too. The Shaman needs to win before turn 8.
You've got to find those Flame Tongues. I think you go all in trying to find them. Then you can push maybe 6 damage instead of 2 in the first couple of turns, and suddenly the Mage just gets on the back foot.
Flame Tongues, Fireflies, Bloodsail, Corsairs, even Jade Claws. These are the cards that best Urda EU is going to be looking
I've actually just kept a Glyph instead of a Frostbolt. Same sort of deal. It's going to be able to deal with one
no big
early
deal.
minion.
He did keep a Frostbolt. In fact, he kept 1 copy of every spell.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And I think we saw the Devolve get kept there, which is an interesting one.
Okay.
Oh, and that's because it's not a real Shaman deck.
Oh. Shots fired.
Sorry, it's not. And the Oozes come back. This is actually going to be a really grindy control.
I guess when
Shaman.
we saw the Ooze, we should have really clocked onto that, shouldn't we?
There's still everybody plays tech cards in Hearthstone Global Games because of the format. You can afford to have 1 or 2 tech cards in every single deck. And yeah, this is just going to be a very grindy deck. The healing could be the bane of the Mage. It's not quite Priest of the Feast, but it is something that messes up the healing. messes up the Major's curve. Sorry.
Yeah, it depends how much of a grip that Irvin G can get on the board. We're seeing Medivh, so he's definitely going to have methods for doing that. It's going to be down to Best Uda to clear the board at the right times, heal at the right times, maybe Spirit Echo the correct minions, and build up those Jade Golems, assuming that he's running Jade Golems.
And this is where keeping Glyph instead of Frostbolt is an accident. Because they're going to use this Glyph as if it was against Token Shaman.
But they're going to grab a Volcanic Potion or something they just don't need.
There's a chance of taking the wrong card. They might not. They might just have a thing that's obvious, like Pyroblast, and that's good in all situations.
Okay.
But like here, Polymorph would be fantastic, and they might take it anyway. But it's so much better against this deck than it is against the regular version.
Yeah, I mean, what else do they take?
That's it. I think they've got
Freezing
Lucky.
Potion's, yeah, Freezing Potion's bad anyway in most cases. Spellbender, I guess, well, the thing is, you don't expect it to be a Hex, so you don't expect to have to protect your minions against Hex. You think it will just block a Jade Lightning at some point.
So because they offered 3 cards and one was fairly obvious choice, that hasn't cost them. But if that had been 3 weird cards, like you say, they end up taking Volcanic Potion, they could have been in a real bad position because of taking the Glyph instead of the Frostbolt early. And it hasn't helped them. It hasn't advanced them by playing the Glyph early.
That being said, playing Frostbolt this turn wouldn't have advanced them either, obviously.
Sure, but they would have the Frostbolt in hand,
yeah.
And that's the worst case, whereas the worst case here is you take the completely wrong card.
Sure.
But they're going to be able to advance their position now with Arcane Intellect, and about now you start getting the message that, hang on, this Shaman isn't Token Shaman.
Yeah, why has he not played anything by turn 2? Just hero powering, that's a bit slow. I think by turn 3 they have a definitive read.
Yeah, your only other read now is that they have double thing from below in their hand.
Yeah.
That's another thing that this could represent.
Okay, do Bulgaria consider coining up the Jade?
They sure do, because they can play the Jade Lightning the turn after.
And the thing is, as well, some Evolved Shamans are running Jade Spirit now.
Yeah, not as many, but yes, you're right, and it makes a lot of sense to me that they run most of the Jade package, so you've got 1 or 2 slots. I think Devolve is starting to become less wanted in decks. I think Stonehill Defender is starting to become less wanted. And so there are spaces opening up for some tech cards or just for Jade Spirit.
Right.
But this is going to go for a long time, so are you in a hurry to use your coin
Well,
and
that's
make
the
them
question,
do something?
right? Like, you don't really want a Gluttonous Ooze, so the alternative is just hero powering here, which is just unimpactful entirely. Going to coin out the Jade Spirit in the end. I like this, you like this too. And Jade Lightning next turn is ideal if Mexico put a minion on the board now, which doesn't look like they're going to. They just can't. Full stop.
Doesn't look like they're going to. They can't. Yeah, that's a pretty definitive reason. The best reasons we've ever given here on Hearthstone Global Games for not playing.
Probably not going to play something because they just can't.
Actually impossible.
Second Jade Lightning, though, it might be tempting to just zap the face.
I think you hero power.
Yeah. It's hard.
It is tempting.
It's really
but
hard.
I feel you just hero power that you haven't got enough of a board. If you're generating a 2/2, it's just weak to Volcanic Potion. They're thinking about it. They're going to do it.
Yeah, I like it just because it does build up the Jades again. That you play another one next turn.
Sure.
Then you've dealt 8 damage to the face with the spells alone. You're putting a 3/3 on the board. You can pick up Aya or something and just almost win on turn 6.
So while we've been concentrating on that side of the board, look at all this fiery nonsense that is turning into the Mexican side of the board. A double Firelance Portal, Fireball, Alex Straza, Fiery Dragon of Death.
Fiery Ooze? No? Okay, alright. Fiery Sheep?
Fiery Sheep.
But what actually comes down this turn? Yeah, it's going to be the Volcanic Potion and a ping. Makes a lot of sense. It's probably the only good use that Mexico are going to get from this Volcanic Potion. They're probably... So they won't guarantee that it's not Evolved Shaman at this point, but they're going to be pretty suspicious.
Good reward here, though, for that Jade Lightning last turn. Means a Jade Claws is going to generate a 3/3. And like you say, I think now that they know what's going on the other side.
So do you just play Jade Claws and Hero Power this time?
I think so. You haven't got the 6-drop in hand. If you had Io in hand, then you might want to. But I think this is the time. You don't mind overloading. There's not much chance you draw a 6-drop next turn. Just get the overload out of the way and in the clear. And you go face because of things like Gluttonous Susan Harrison.
Right. Speaking of Gluttonous Ooze, this may be Mexico's best chance to use it, and picking up the Arcane Intellect makes that decision slightly easier.
Yeah, they need to do something. Next turn is going to be probably Firelands. The turn after is going to be probably Firelands, maybe Medivh actually into the second Firelands. And they're not going to have any time to play this Ooze, so just get something out of it.
Okay.
If they're going to stick with the plan of the first Jade Lightning, you kill this Ooze and go face and worry about Flame Strike later.
It seems strong as well. Like, if they Flame Strike now, at least it's gone, and then he comes back with whatever they draw next turn. Best Uda really wants to pick up an Eye Blackpool. I think that's the dream at this point. You can play that on turn 7,
yeah.
You're probably in an okay position. Jade Chieftain would be fine too if he runs it.
Yeah, although he'd want to keep that in his hand so he can get 2 of them.
Oh, with Spirit Echo?
With Spirit Echo.
Sure.
So here's the Flame Strike, and what happens to Bulgaria's next turn will probably decide the course of this game, because Mexico are in a fantastic position.
Oh dear, that's not the card that Best Uda wanted to pick up here. He can play it, but it wouldn't do anything.
Can he play it?
Yeah, it's glowing green, so I think so.
There's some cards you can't, like you can't play Unleash the Hounds for 0.
Unleash. Well, that just doesn't make any sense. A volcano can erupt and hit nothing.
If a volcano erupts and nobody's there to see it, does it really erupt?
Now that's a question.
Exactly.
I guess, okay, so Medivh and Thrall would see it. But you can't unleash 0 hounds. It just doesn't make sense.
You can unleash cats.
But you're not unleashing cats. There's no way of summoning cats with Unleash the Hounds.
Sure.
Anyways.
But if you unleash cats, then you're not unleashing any hounds. That's what I was saying.
Oh,
anyway, but this synergy here with Medivh and a Firelands Portal is normally amazing, but it's not so amazing when Medivh turns into a frog and the weapon turns into yum yum dinner time.
Yeah, it's a shame. There's no Alexstrasza. Oh, sorry, there is an Alexstrasza for Overgy to follow up with. So it's a shame, but not the end of the world. Let's quickly backtrack on what I was about to say there.
Nothing wrong with a quick backtrack.
Gossa's Ooze. On the plus side, for Mexico, it only gains Bulgaria 1 armor, and now Alexstrasza, I imagine, going to be a snap play, putting them down to 16 health. And as you said before, lots of fire to finish the job. Medivh's Valet, though, no secrets to activate them.
Yeah, no block yet, and that could be a small worry here. Not a massive worry, because next turn, it's not lethal yet, but it's getting really close. And Double Jinyu on the other side is going to be interesting if they can get a Spirit Echo on those, which you have to assume is in this deck at this point.
I wonder.
But yeah, it's a position where Bulgaria really need to start hitting the face. This is why you don't play your Jinyus earlier, by the way, in case you're wondering why these weren't played at the start of the game. You wait for the Alexstrasza and start healing up that damage.
Now, Mexico. Oh, there's a secret.
And they need it. Like, from nowhere, actually, Bulgaria have developed... It's not exactly the most terrifying board in the world.
Are you afraid of Bloodlust? That's the question.
I think you might be afraid of 1.
So that's 21 damage.
I think you probably have to go, we have to not... You worry about it, but you don't go out of your way. It's like, if they've got it, they've got it.
Well, that's a counterspell, so that doesn't...
Yeah, you're not going out of your way, right.
Both Medivh's Valet going to hit Jinyu? Is that... Wow, that's happening. Okay.
Sure.
So to prevent some sort of Spirit Echoes, maybe?
Yeah, and also just to get rid of a difficult minion to deal with, allowing your Fireball to now just go face. These 2/3s can deal so well with 0/2s and 1/2s.
At least the Trailblazer in Mexico's hand going to get pulled out by the Dirty Rats. So not actually going to open any packs, but not a card we see every day in Discover Mage.
No, interesting how greedy this particular build is.
She's capable of, yes, squeezing out that extra little bit of value, so it makes sense as an addition. Devolve going to get counterspelled, though.
Wow.
Ooh.
How much health is on the board? Quite a bit. Can they turn that into 15? Is there a way?
Well, they can trade in their Ooze and their Murloc Tidecooler, so get rid of 4 health there. No, there's no way to make it.
There's 29, I think, from a quick glance at caster math. So yeah,
that's where the.
You've got to get rid of 14 or 13 from somewhere.
That's how the totems become a little bit frustrating. Obviously, the spell damage totem means that Volcano goes off 6 times. Sorry, 16 times, not 15 times. But it's just not relevant. One of the reasons that Volcano doesn't necessarily have best synergy with Shaman, because of those your own pesky totems in the way.
I hope that more cards like Volcano are printed. I really like cards that are basically affect both sides, and the job of building around the card is for you to work out how to get rid of the problems of it. Like with this, the problem is it blows up your own stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to build a deck where that is minimized. And I think that cards like that, like symmetrical cards, are far more interesting for card games in general.
Definitely one of the more interesting cards that was released with
Right.
Bulgaria. I believe it was the first card that was announced from Bulgaria.
And it's proven to be pretty much perfectly built.
Yeah.
I mean, don't want to be overhyping it, but it's a card that comes in and out of decks.
Woohoo! White Eyes from Firelands Portal. So Mexico, yeah, they lose out on some value because of the Elise, but they get more value because White Eyes' Death Rattle will go on later if they even need it.
Yeah, it's looking really good now for Mexico. Yeah, a card that comes in and out of decks. Sometimes you play it, sometimes you don't. For me, it's the definition of a well-built card.
Yep.
You don't want a card like Azure Drake that was in every single deck.
No.
You don't want a card like Magma Rager, which is in no decks ever. You want cards like Volcano that are useful in the right time.
Such a bully, poor Magma Rager.
Well, you know, I'm not the only person bullied. He gets bullied by people like copying his name and reversing his name and stuff.
Shadow Ragers. Shadow Ragers is a big bully. Jade Chieftain, you said that Bulgaria are going to want to save that.
Yeah, they're going to want to, but they haven't got the time to.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Can they generate one extra turn to just wait in case they can pick up Spirit Echo?
To be fair,
think so.
we don't know 100% that they run it, but we've got a pretty good idea that it should be in the deck. Can a Volcano this board?
Yeah, Volcano into Jinyu is going to give them something. They might just hero power, though.
Well, Alex Strauss is gone, so I can't see any reason not to play the Jinyu.
Still an extra card with Spirit Echo, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Even forgetting the healing side.
But there's a chance that Mexico just don't deal with this now. But then they played around Spirit Echo.
Fireland,
they'll play around it
ping,
again now.
terrifying.
Too good. What is it with the 5-mana legendaries popping out of Mexico's violence portals? Let's go with a Prince Malcazar. Doesn't do anything, but decent stat line.
5/6 is absolutely plenty, like you say, decent stat line.
Premium for a 5-drop, yeah.
I think you play Stonehill Defender here, honestly. See what you get offered.
Stonehill Defender's not bad with Spirit Echoes either. Festudo can go ahead and drop the Jade Chieftain. Ooh.
Pyroblast. I can see a plan forming here, Dan.
Well, that's 19 damage, right? Plus a ping, make that 20 damage. Primordial Glyph. If that were to pick up an extra Pyroblast, that's lethal in 3 turns.
The Mana Worm will get bigger as well as stuff goes by.
And of course, I haven't even counted the fact that, yeah, something like Flame Strike can clear this board, and then all this damage can go face.
So Spellbender's pretty useless, right? We've seen both Jade Lightnings.
Yeah.
Forbidden Flame's interesting. It allows them to clear with one big thing.
Flame Strike on this board is pretty good because you can play it and then ping and then trade the... do you trade the Mana Worm in? No, you just smack face with it. So you trade it, you Flame Strike and ping the 5/5 with Taunt, and then just ignore the 5/5 without Taunt.
You can also play Forbidden Flame, do something like Frostbolt the Mana Worm, Forbidden Flame the 5/6, Frostbolt, excuse me.
Frostbolt the Jade
Chieftain.
Chieftain.
Fireball the Chieftain even, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then just go face for a load, Forbidden Flame the other minion.
Yeah, that's true.
I think you have to polymorph. Anyway, Flame Strike works are fine.
Oh.
At the end of all that blathering.
Alright, going to take it but not play it. So Flame Strike going to be pretty handy later.
Yeah, they're just turning this Mana Worm into a complete destructive weapon. I'd like to see them hang on to the polymorph because of strange things that could happen.
It's an Eye of Blackpaw right now, isn't it?
Dirty Rat.
He ain't talking. Let's see what the Stonehill Defender can pick up.
Well, they can pick up something. Unfortunately, we've got a spectator bug, so we don't know what.
We'll
but
see in just a moment. So,
sure we'll find out.
Alakir, one of the top picks right now. Bulgaria want to pick up as much value with the Stonehill Defender as possible. I wouldn't be too surprised if another Stonehill Defender would have been a top pick. In fact, Rathian isn't bad.
Rathion's surprisingly good. I think it's underrated a lot by people when they look at choices.
That's not a dragon, though.
I mean, it's not a dragon, but it's just another card. You got a 4/5 and a 5/5 with that pick.
Yeah. Really, really
and people
strong.
just overlook that all the time.
No,
Look
that's
at
really
this.
strong. Flame Strike is really, really strong, especially for 5 mana.
This one drop's done a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's scary, that. What are we at now? 6 health left for best dude at EU.
Yeah. Get out of that.
Oh, look, there's the Spirit Echo.
Just in time. Yeah, just incredible. That was aimed at us, not at anybody else. We knew you were trying to get there, Morgalad.
And Pazanadio does it again, gets the win with his Shaman. Last week it was Miracle Rogue. This week, Shaman... Sorry, hang on a second. That's not right. Irvin G does it. Rewind.
Get the stuff.
Irvin G does it with his mage. Sorry, and Pazanadio, he actually didn't win his game. Let's just backtrack there a second.
I can't even say his name, so I've got to apologise to him.
But Irvin G gets his win with mage. Can't take that away from him. Versus best EU Shaman. Next up, Morgalad versus Epsilon. And... she is playing right. Okay. All right. Hang on just a moment.
Okay.
Morgalad Druids, Epsilon Hunter. Now, Epsilon said to me just before we started, I said to her, you're going to beat Bulgaria today? She said, yes, we are.
She's going to play basic 1 to 6 Hunter with Savannah High Mains, right?
Not quite. So she said to me, and she said to keep it quiet. Obviously, it's a surprise.
Okay, so don't tell anyone, guys. It's absolutely secret.
No, it's fine because the game's just about to happen. This Hunter has Ysera in it. We've seen Yseras a lot today.
She's winding you up, mate.
We've seen them in Paladins, we've seen them in Warriors, we've seen them in Priests, we've seen them in, I'm sure there's been one other class, and Druids. We've seen Ysera in 4 classes already today. We're about to see it in a 5th. And I would agree with you, yeah, she's winding us up, but we've actually seen this Hunter...
Us? I don't include me in this.
But we've actually seen this Hunter from Epsilon or from Team Mexico before. I think it had N'Zoth in it. I might be wrong, but it's a very heavy Hunter deck.
I don't believe any of it.
She's there getting ready to play. Morgalad, they're not quite aware of what he's about to face, although if he's caught up, if he's done his research, if he's caught up on what Mexico have done in the past, he should know it's a possibility. Research is a big part of the Hearthstone global games. And it's really down to the players to keep an eye on what their next opponents played in their last series.
Right.
It's something that they should be doing to increase their win percentage.
Yeah, it's something the Netherlands was saying earlier, like after the first round, they all went to Seat Story of this set of 3. And then the second round, Gaskin mentioned it as they were playing. He's like, they played this exact order last week, and they didn't have time to prepare. And then this week, they've just come out with... They weren't meme decks, they were like tier 3, tier 4 decks that were just capable decks because they wanted to be unpredictable going forwards. And like you say, it depends how Mexico are doing things this week. If they've been scouted, maybe Morgalad gets to work this out.
Unpredictable decks that are built with a purpose have been pretty successful.
They have today, especially.
But let's jump in to game number 4. There it is.
Barnes, Ysera, Houndmaster, Bluegill Warrior. That's a hand only a mother could love.
Confirmed. Ysera in Hunter.
Meanwhile, Morgalad just playing normal Jade-looking cards at the moment.
I'm very quickly trying to go back on my notes and work out if they won previously with this Hunter. You have to imagine that they did, because otherwise, why would they have brought it again?
Okay, well, maybe they want to prove a point.
Maybe.
All right, so Morgalad picks up Jade Idol. He does pick up the Ooze, which might be relevant, depending on whether there's actually a weapon in this deck. And Epsilon has got a decent-looking curve here, although the Bluegill's kind of awkward. They have to coin into 3, into 3, into 4. Hope Barnes hits something good.
It was actually quite a while ago that Epsilon they brought this deck. They haven't brought Hunter for the last couple of weeks, so I don't actually have it in my recent notes, unfortunately.
So Crackling Razormaw is an interesting card here because it's decent to challenge the board with, but obviously you lose out all of the synergy with the beasts. But now Epsilon's going to have to probably coin Rat Pack on 3.
Yeah, decided that she's got to play a slightly slow game. As they queued up against the Jade Druids, kind of rewarded, I guess, for this deck. A mid-range Hunter, typically, this isn't exactly mid-range Hunter, but typically mid-range Hunter used to be very good against the control decks. Decks like Control Warrior, cards like Freezing Trap and Savannah High Main are just good at punishing the slower decks. Maybe this will be okay against Jade Druid.
It's interesting. It depends exactly how slow this Hunter is. If it's too slow, the Jade will get established.
Right.
But if it's full of... It doesn't look like it's too slow with Tundra Rhino. That means there's probably High Main, especially if it's N'Zoth anyway. Why wouldn't you play High Main?
Right.
And High Main is really punishing against Druid. Druid ends up using a lot of resources just to deal with one card. Interesting decision here because you want to play your Razormaw on your Rat Pack, but you don't want to give away mana, so I think we'll see the Animal Companion happen here.
Yeah, Animal Companion getting Leok obviously also buffs the Rat Pack and buffs the Death Rattle if the Leok is still alive when the Rat Pack dies.
All right, decision made easier.
Leok is even better now because it buffs both rats.
And Morgalad not letting that thing live for very long at all.
Second Bluegill Warrior, okay.
That to me says there's a Finger in this deck.
That does say that to me as well, and 2 Murloc War Leaders. She's going to want to pick up Finger before she picks up the War Leaders, or that could be a problem. And now...
I fancy I know what's going to happen this turn.
Yeah, there's a pretty good 4-mana Druid card, which is good at cleaning up situations like this. There's 2 Innovates too, though, which are probably going to be safe for the Gadgets and Auction.
You would think so. At least one of them. It will be tempting next turn to innovate out Jade Behemoth if this hand doesn't improve. Just a challenge board.
Okay, is it Barnes time? It's Barnes time. Let's go.
What is it?
It's a crab.
Oh,
It's a crab.
disappointing.
Anyway,
So probably Wild Growth, but there is the option to innovate out Jade Behemoth and then go Auctioneer, innovate Wild Growth next turn to cycle through.
which do you prefer to hold on to for the Auctioneer turn? Do you prefer to hold on to an Innovate, or do you prefer to hold on to a Wild Growth?
I mean, I prefer the Auctioneer turn to be later, but it's not going to be.
So in which case you do Wild Growth now? Because I'm wondering if you can just Innovate out Jade Behemoth.
That's what I'm thinking. I think you might innovate Jade Behemoth and then go Auctioneer, innovate, and hope to have drawn something good. It's a really awkward turn.
Auctioneer, Innovate, Wild Growth? Oof.
I mean, there's also the possibility to do something really strange, like just play the Ooze and make them trade into it. Like Wild Growth, Ooze, go. Then next turn you Jade Behemoth, and then you've got a whole bunch of stuff you Auctioneer. But I think you have to get on with it, so it's whether you Jade Behemoth or whether you don't. You can also innovate Auctioneer, innovate, which would be a right mess.
Oh, yeah. The Auctioneer then dies and gets very little value. That's a shame. At least there's a Taunt up with this play. Alley Cat works very well with Tundra Rhino next turn, but we're too early for that now. So what is Epsilon going to do to fill out this curve? Kindly Grandmother. Maybe Crackling Razor more on the crab. Try and get Poisonous? Yeah? Okay.
Poisonous, hungry crab eating jade elephants. That's what my life has come to.
That's not poisonous, though. I guess attack is going to have...
3 attack's pretty good because Barnes doesn't die to the 3/6. It just doesn't kill it without help.
It's just so much worse than poisonous in this situation. That's the problem.
It is. It is. But the Bluegill can also take down the 2/2 if they want.
Yeah, Barnes would have been able to clear up the 2/2 if we got poisonous here and just keep controlling the board entirely. Kind of Grandmother plus Alley Cat would have then been a nice addition. However, I guess second best option isn't that bad.
The difficult thing
is
here,
better.
yeah, this saves attack. The difficult thing here for both teams is to work out how long the game needs to go for you to win. If the game goes to turn 15, Jade Druid always wins.
Yep.
If the game goes to turn 10 or 11, I think the Hunter wins, which means that for the next turn or two, the Druid is the defender. Then after that, the Druid becomes the attacker while the Hunter's trying to win. And then it goes back to being the defender again while it just sets up the massive Jades.
Right.
It's really weird, and that happens a lot in Hearthstone these days, and that's a really good thing. You have to Auctioneer, you have to get something going.
There's just nothing else you can do. Auctioneer, Innovate, at least you can then Wrath. Maybe you Wrath for one, although you've used both Innovates now, so there's no way of drawing that. You're out of...
I guess you can Wild Growth, Wrath down the Barnes, Hero Power down a 1/1.
Oof.
I don't know if that puts you in a better position than what I was just saying. I don't know if it does, but I guess that's what they're at least considering.
What if they Wrath the Barnes
Cycle
Hero
the-
Power? Just cycle it, exactly.
And then next turn you do have more mana available if you Wild Growth now for that Auctioneer to actually do something. You'll have 8, plus the 2 from the Innovate, you'll have 10. That does allow you to do a lot more stuff.
These are some uncomfortable turns coming up in the Hearthstone Lilians. Of course, dealing with the beast is more important.
Yeah, I instinctively deal with the thing that needs healing, but of course you deal with the beast.
Yeah. You're right, there's multiple levels of thinking that happens there. But Morgalad makes the right call against the Hunter. Gonna Wild Growth too. Let's set up that Auctioneer and get that as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, they're not dying anytime soon, right? And then this is going to speed things up, but yeah, just taking their time trying to get the most out of this Auctioneer. It's definitely the right play.
So Tundra Rhino might be tempting, just to put something on the board that has to be cleared.
I think you like to Tundra Rhino, though, when the Grandmother's in play.
So you can play that and Grandmother,
So you can
trade
do,
it in.
yeah, get the extra little proc on the Grandmother there, and then attack with a 3/2 big bad wolf.
And also playing it while it's protected makes a lot of sense. Epsilon has just put a Taunt up on the board, which makes it even harder to deal with the Tundra Rhino next turn.
Of course, you can play the Kindly Grandmother and the Tundra Rhino on the same turn if you want, but I think I like doing this. You miss out 2 damage, but you put 1 straight back down there, and I think there's the possibility for more. I think this is more efficient, especially as you want to play the Bluegill next turn as well in a lot of circumstances.
Right, now, Nourish pickup I think it's just better than Auctioneer this turn. The problem is that Morgalad isn't putting anything on the board. If he plays Nourish. As he could Nourish and play...
Used one Wrath, one Swipe, right?
Yeah.
He's got 2 Feral Rage, 1 Swipe, 1 Wrath that are pretty good here. I think this is okay. You might get an Earthen Scales as well.
Okay.
Mind Control, Tech. This is a card that we are seeing in more and more decks.
That is one heck of a tech.
And that is worked pretty well. Morgalad playing to that out, amongst many others, I'm sure.
We saw it in Jade Druid. DreamHack in that infamous game with the Jade Druid versus the...
I believe it's in one of the HCT decks, but I wouldn't swear to that. It's definitely in some decks I was looking at the other day, but I've looked at a lot of decks this week, so...
There's War Leader. So Finja now only capable of bringing out 1 Murloc if it's drawn. We might even get the second War Leader first, and Finja might bring out no Murlocs.
So many decisions here for Epsilon. She can Bluegill and War Leader to trade into the Auctioneer.
Oh, I like that.
Or she can go with the Tundra Rhino Grandmother route, which can also kill the Auctioneer.
Oh, I like that too, Neil.
It's difficult, right?
I like both of these plays. There are some juicy plays coming up. I want to see that Ysera, though. That would complete this game for me.
You want to see Ysera.
Again, we've seen a lot of Ysera today. I do like developing the Tundra Rhino, actually. It means that any beast that she draws over the next few turns, if she picks up a Savannah Highmane, at 6 damage, that goes directly to the dome. Not even going to trade.
Interesting.
Epsilon going to start smorking Morgalad.
She feels that it's safe enough that you can't get through both of these and lose the Rhino in a way that you wouldn't lose the Rhino already. So sneaking an extra 3 damage in, which is always good.
Okay,
Game is just starting to turn.
Earthen Scales and Feral Rage, both very helpful, actually. We're getting to the point where Epsilon might only be able to deal small bursts of damage, so that large amount of healing burst could be game-changing.
Earthen Scales and the MC Tech also stops it from dying.
Yeah.
You can't Feral Rage and kill the 2/5 though. That needs to go.
It's close, but 1 mana off, and that's only if Bulgaria do not play the Earthen Scales.
There's
Jade
plenty
Blossom.
of Twitch chat ways of dealing with this, but no real-world ones. All right, so Savannah Highmane could just be brutal right now.
Okay, Ysera's 1 turn early.
Oh, you called for it, and there it is. War Leader into Bluegill clears up a lot of this board. And
unfortunately, the Tundra Rhino is going to be left on 1 health if we're making all of these trades.
it is.
War Leader Bluegill to get rid of the 3/3 Rhino, trade into the 4/1, and then Bulgaria can just hero pair it down, cycle the Wrath. I don't know how Bulgaria are going to deal with Ysera, though.
I mean, the usual way is to ignore it and hit the opponent in the face quicker than they can hit you, but Bulgaria are currently not in the position of hitting people in the face at all easily.
What to do?
I don't think Epsilon has any other options, which she's definitely trying to work out if she does.
I don't see any other options myself. Maybe just playing the Bluegill Warrior, trading that into the Mind Control Tech and going face with the Tundra Rhino, but that doesn't really make sense because then you're not utilizing the Murloc War Leader.
Yeah, you might as well have it on the board as well. You just want an extra minion. There's
Yeah.
a 3/3. The Bluegills have gone. The Finja ain't going to do much. You might as well just have a 3/3 on the board.
Okay, well, doing it this way is fine, I guess. The Tundra Rhino is going to go face.
Yep.
Not worrying too much about the 3/3 that's sitting there. Okay. That Ysera does have the potential to just win this game, though. It's kind of scary to think about. It's kind of crazy.
It is. And if I've got this right as well, if Mexico do win this, then Canada have got a chance.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so, but I might be wrong. Because they've lost 3-2 twice. So if they then come out and just demolish Italy, then Canada will actually have a chance in this.
Oh.
And we've just ridden Canada off because of how all the permutations were against them. But yeah, if Mexico take Bulgaria down, that puts Canada back into this tournament.
Wow. Well, yeah.
It's not over yet, this game. There's still a lot of work here for Mexico to do. But these Jades aren't looking very big, and Ysera is looking very big.
Ysera is looking pretty big. 4 attack, 12 health. These Jade Golems are only 4/4s at the moment, so Ysera can take out a few of them. Not to mention cards like Ysera Awakens and Dream can really slow these Jade Golems right back down again.
Ooze coming down, I think, in my opinion, this Ooze coming down a bit slow. They haven't had many chances to play it, but I think they should have identified more quickly that this wasn't going to have many weapons hanging around.
Well, there's only one play this turn, Neil.
Kodo Hero Power.
That's not the one I was thinking
Okay, Isira and then what?
We trade away the Glass and the Suits, right?
I think so.
Don't think... Oh, you think you can go face?
I think you trade, but just going to make sure we're on the same page exactly, because 3 face damage is quite a lot there.
Well, you just want to try and set up this position where Ysera carries. Unfortunately, Laughing Sister is probably the worst one you can get. Now, Feral Rage... Volgalad can clear it. Amazing.
Can clear it, he's going to take damage in the process. He does have other scales, but it's not a huge amount.
Yeah, but the Fandro allowing the Feral Rage to gain armor as well makes a huge difference in this game.
It sure does. And I haven't seen that many death rattles, but probably enough. We've seen one kindly grandmother. Is that all we've seen? We must see more.
I may have been totally wrong about the Nazoth, but yeah, you're right.
No, it feels like there should be a Nazoth in this sort of deck.
Animal Companion? Oh, okay. Well, Mexico just need to play everything now, right? But obviously, they can't play everything in the hand. Huffer is the worst one?
I don't know. You get rid of a 5 on it. The Fandor's not doing anything a lot of the time.
Actually, Huffer's fine because the 5-1 would have traded into either of the other Animal Companions anyway.
Right, and we automatically read Fandor as have Taunt. But actually, into a Naught card hand, Fandor's nowhere near as terrifying. Watch Nourish come off the top now and prove me to be a liar.
It doesn't really matter even if a Jade... Jade Idols picks up.
Jade Idol's actually quite bad if it comes off the top because you don't really want to shuffle them in this early.
Yeah. Well, they're 5/5s now, right?
It's getting there, I guess. It is getting there.
Epsilon just trying to work out if she wants to go face or trade away this 5-1. I would consider going face here. Take advantage of the fact that you did get Huffer.
How bad is it for you, though, if... Well, we're going to find out if Fandor trades into your Huffer. Let's see what happens here.
I don't think it makes too much of a difference, because then Kodo can just trade into something. Oh, there's the Nourish off the top!
Rip.
Unbelievable.
Now things look pretty bad for Mexico. It looks like it's going to go to 2-2.
That is completely your fault, Neil.
I know.
Oh, that's disheartening. Morgalad having exactly what he needed to clear up the Ysera. He had 1 damage over, actually. And now, unless Epsilon does have an Azoth, or does have some... I think it can only be an Azoth. She's just not going to win this game.
She's going further down the Canada rabbit hole. I think they're just in it anyway, if they win. I think because of the 3rd place position situation.
Well, yeah, they win regardless, right? Sorry, they get through regardless, Mexico.
Mexico do, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Canada may actually just need a decent-sized win against Italy. I'll work that out afterwards properly, but I don't want to misinform people too long. Obviously trying to keep an eye on all of these groups today at Hearthstone Global Games because the top 16 will be decided and the 3rd places in the groups. 4 of them go through, 2 of them do not to round out the 16.
Yeah, this is the final Hearthstone Global Games Stage 2 stream. You've got HCT to look forward to this weekend on this same channel. But next week, we start the single elimination bracket in the Hearthstone Global.
Yeah, then we just start knocking teams out left, right and centre. Every game it's someone goes home.
We really are stepping this up into overdrive over the next week in Hearthstone. As we just go through the motions here, Morgalad building up this disgustingly huge board.
Disgustingly huge. I'm not sure there's any card that can save it now. Fincher, you are so late.
Oh dear. There's the concede. Pretty good card to put the concede. And Morgalad does it again. Epsilon just held up a little post-it note that said happy birthday someone.
Gaskin, probably.
I didn't say...
I didn't see it. I'm just going to say it was Gaskin because it's his birthday.
Well, that's very, very kind of her. But Morgalad doing what he always does, winning games and waving flags.
Yeah, he's good at waving flags and he's good at winning games. And he's somebody we very much overlooked going into this, and he's very much another player that has proved the casters to be oversightful.
But next up, as we have one last game yet this series, we're going to go into the ace match. Best Ida EU comes back against Empanzanado. It's going to be Priest versus Paladin.
Priest versus Paladin. And not much we can say about that until they get going, because Priest can be anything. There's 1 Priest going to be at HCT at the weekend, and there's a whole bunch of Paladins. I believe it's 10, but I'm not going to flick a load of notes over. I'm just going to go with my gut. I think there's 10 Paladins there.
Again, because I do have my notes up now, and it doesn't include this week, but Paladin has been picked 34 times in Stage 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games.
A lot of times.
Second place is Shaman, that's been picked 28 times. But then the other numbers, Warrior and Druid and Mage, have all been picked 26 times.
So lots of those classes.
Really close between those. Shaman is only a little bit ahead, but Paladin is well and truly in front in terms of most popular class in Hearthstone Global Games right now.
Which classes haven't had a Seer in, though? We haven't had a Seer in Shaman yet.
Yep, Shaman.
I don't know why, actually. Let's just have an Asira Shaman with...
Rogue hasn't had Ysera, and Warlock. We just haven't seen a Warlock. Oh, we have seen a Warlock, actually. Maybe it was in the Bloodbloom Warlock.
Bloodbloom Asira sounds good to me, because then for 2 mana you can do another 5 to yourself. Okay, no, I shouldn't build decks.
No. Just leave it to the pros from the different countries. But yeah, I'm really excited for this game.
Yeah.
So who has to win to give Canada the best chance?
Canada are fine. Canada, they're not fine. They haven't won a game, but Canada don't care too much. They would rather Bulgaria lose, but
okay.
They're fine either way.
That's mean. I want Bulgaria to lose, says Canada.
That's kind of how round robins work. You end up sort of having your favourites. And if you're going to come third, then you've got to have cheer on a lot of things to lose.
Speaking of favourites, this is my favourite type of Paladin, the one with the big fat N'Zoth in it. This is a very obvious N'Zoth Paladin. I know this because I can see it in the opening mulligan.
Okay, so what sort of priest is it? Genius?
Wow. Thinking.
It's a binding heal priest, that's what it is.
Yeah, could it be Horror Priest? I don't think this could be Horror Priest, actually. It just looks like it's a Control Priest to me. But I'll change my mind.
That's a hand.
Sure, that is a hand. If Bulgaria can pick up a World Pyromancer soon, then Best of EU can just draw his whole deck.
So these are the hands where you're supposed to draw 1,000,000 cards. Oh my goodness. And they're the hands where always, what happens to me is I just end up not drawing any cards and dying horribly flat on my face. But the good players basically end up getting some things injured, getting down a load of cards. Circle of Healing draws a load of stuff, and then the whole thing just snowballs out of control.
I wonder if Impazanado plays the Doomsay here. Looks like it's going for it.
Shadow Word Pain would be a nuisance, but it's not even in all the priest decks, depending exactly what's being played.
Divine Spirit. Okay, so Bulgaria just going to make the regular play, trade in, heal up the Doomsayer, let it all die. At least he draws a card in the process.
Yeah, why not? Talon Priest is nice. It's going to be board occupation at the very least.
Two very slow decks here. Hydrologist probably going to come pick up a secret. And Pazanado going to be hoping for Getaway Kodo. Nope. Acolyte of Pain. Okay, sure.
Acolyte of Pain. This is just going to...
Oh, speaking of Acolyte of Pain.
3/3 Acolytes of Pains are better than 1/3 Acolytes of Pain, but they haven't got the inner bio anymore. All right. So just taking it in turns to try and draw more and more ridiculous numbers of cards.
Yeah.
And this board looks difficult to deal with, except there's an equality. Oh my goodness, now there's a True Silver.
Oh, True Silver Champion is such a great pickup here for Impazanado. You can just use that to get rid of the Cabal Talon Priest and start pinging away the Acolyte with it. Sorry, with the Cleric with his Acolyte. Unfortunately, the Priest can draw just as many cards as Mexico can.
Kind of, right?
But they have to use up 2 mana each turn to do it.
Yeah, although they have got Circle of Healing, of course.
It's such a bad circle, though, isn't it?
And there's the Pyromancer, so that's going to stop any notions.
Goodness.
That's another Pyromancer. Any notions of the Priest may have of doing a crazy turn is just going to get wiped out.
Right. Is there any way that Bulgaria can abuse this Pyromancer and circle this turn? I don't think there is.
They'll probably wait one more turn, which might be too late.
Because next turn, Radiant Elemental plus Pyromancer plus Divine Spirit plus Circle of Healing would allow for a lot of card draw.
I do wonder if you just Divine Spirit here and heal up your Cleric. And just have a giant unkillable Cleric and sort of force the equality.
Maybe. The only problem with that is that you lose any way of guaranteeing the Pyromancer combo next turn.
Sure.
It looks like... Oh, Pyromancer's going to come down this turn.
All right.
Oh, okay, so still going to go for that.
They're just going to give cards away, but they're going to draw a billion cards themselves. And this might be a long game, but it's going to be a game with lots of cards in hand.
Oh my goodness. All right. Playing it sensibly, going to just draw 2 cards off of the circle. If there's an Inner Fire coming up soon, Bulgaria are going to be enjoying that. But as you said, Mexico may just have to play the equality here.
They may indeed. You can't let this Cleric go too crazy. They're looking for any way out of this. Including, do you just want to equality and play the pyro? And
There's no 1-mana spell though.
but yeah, just equality and leave the pyro up. So equality, use your weapon and just save your pyro for later.
Oh, okay, sure.
And leave your opponents with a 3/1 pyro they can heal. You probably don't do that. I think you end up just having to pyro equality, but they're going to try everything they can to not do it.
Another thing they could do this turn is just play the Hydrologist,
Right.
grab a secret, drop Stonehill Defender. The next turn, play play Equality, then Pyromancer, then Secret. We've seen that turn played, I think it was earlier this series. No, it wasn't this series. It must have been a previous one.
You do have to, if you go with that play, it looks like they're going to, you have to weigh up how bad things could get. And I think the answer is pretty bad.
These are 3-drops.
Hired gun.
Or robot thing, as I described it as yesterday.
Robot thing!
That's not right.
Reason number 101 why casters don't name cards. I'm usually the guilty party.
Okay.
Potion of Mad Nice.
That would have been great when there was Acolyte of Pain on the board.
Just drawing more cards. Play your own Acolyte here.
Okay.
Is it a 1/11 cleric? I can't remember. I just wonder if they bump first then heal.
Yes, I think 11 is its maximum.
So they will bump first and heal then. See what they get. Yeah.
Oh, Talk Reaper. I'm wondering if Best Duda ever considers putting down the Radiant Elemental and trying to set up for a decent Lyra turn soon. It's tricky because at the moment the Radiant Elemental could just be traded into. Talk Reaper probably makes a lot more sense.
I mean, this could be a mega long game, yeah. You might still be saving up to get multiple Elise packs much, much later in the game. And this is just still the messing around at the start. All these cards the priest has drawn, they haven't really got anywhere. Maybe Mexico are onto that we just don't need to deal with this 1/11. As long as there's a taunt always up so that no accidents happen.
Yeah, that's true. And now there's a second taunt too, so it's very unlikely that the priest can do anything too nasty. Gonna just get rid of that Acolyte.
Yeah, I think Mexico just said, you know what, just keep drawing cards. We just don't care.
Blade Master.
It's pretty aggressive.
Okay. I really don't know what I'm picturing when I'm trying to picture this complete priest deck.
I have that tool with priest a lot, I must admit.
Blade
You can
Master.
probably tell from this cast.
Blade Master is very uncommon when it comes to priests nowadays. Let's see what else we can draw. There's the Binding Heal we saw earlier.
Okay.
So Blade Master plus Binding Heal is a very nice combo.
Trying to work out how the priest wins this, and all I can see is Elise and a load of packs.
Elise, Pax, Lyra. If Best Duda EU could play a Lyra which sticks to the board, then that can win a game in itself. But Paladin just has too much removal. Like,
Maybe mind control, but
yeah.
this seems a little bit lower curve than that. We haven't seen any expensive stuff yet.
Mind control would be huge because they could take the Tyrion away from the Paladin, meaning that N'Zoth doesn't bring back Tyrion either.
One thing that's interesting, actually, is you might not even need mind control to stop the Tyrion being played.
Right.
Because they might just think you've got mind control, if you represent it correctly.
Yeah.
But this... It's pretty awkward. Obviously, at any point, Mexico can clear the board once because they have held onto that equality that I would have burned so frivolously.
Something that we don't talk about very often is about how it really does become difficult to play when your hand gets too big. There are so many cards that generate other cards or draw more cards that just become entirely unplayable when you need to get stuff out of your hand. Like Getaway Kodo. Playing that doesn't actually reduce your hand size because something else gets added back to it. Hydrologist is the same thing.
Yeah, it is really awkward. It's not as bad as it used to be when you have like Control Warrior games or Freeze Mage Mirrors where you're just playing Blizzard onto an empty board. But you're right, it does make things awkward. It makes a lot of decisions. In a team game, a lot of people might see a lot of different things, like you're seeing how we are noticing different things to each other. All right, more cards.
Full of healing. So
how many would you like?
What's Lyra do right now? Lyra plus Radiant Elemental is all of the mana used up. It makes Potion of Madness free, so...
I actually think you don't want Lyra here because what I've done in these situations when my opponent's running low on cards is leave Lyra there.
Right.
And they can never actually... They've got the problem you just talked about, seriously, where Lyra just keeps generating pretty garbage cards,
Right.
using up all their mana, and unless they draw the Divine Spirits and Inner Fires, actually Lyra does produce a whole bunch of garbage when you've got a big full hand sometimes.
Possible, but Bulgaria doesn't seem to care.
No, they're looking for real cards though, not Lyra
Yeah,
cards.
okay.
Cards they put in their deck.
They want to draw as many cards.
You want as many cards, but you'd rather have the cards that you chose in your deck than Lyra cards when you're so far ahead in card advantage.
Sadly for Dan the Birthday Man, this is still not a Kazakas priest, as we've seen multiple 2-ofs. The dream still yet to happen. I believe this is Dan's last week here in the studio in Poland as well, so it's something he's going to want to see before the day is out.
I'm sure he'll get his chance. I'm sure he won't, actually, but you know, maybe he will. And there's a Stampeding Kodo. It's only about 15 turns too late.
Well, dealing with the Cleric is still fine. It gets rid of a 111, which has the constant threat of an Inner Fire buffing it up.
I think the Cleric may have done the damage by now that it's going to do.
That's fair. Possibly the damage to the Priest, though. Fatigue is definitely a consideration.
I am wondering if Mexico have deliberately let this happen.
Yeah, right.
It's something that crossed my mind when it started happening.
You've almost drawn your entire deck.
We're only 7 cards behind you in Fatigue, and we've still got a handful of removal. Oh dear.
What a disaster.
I don't think it's a chance you like to take against Priest, because you don't know exactly what their composition is. They might just suddenly go Potion of Madness, hit you for 48, or is it 76 or something Gaskin was saying earlier.
Right.
But 74 maybe. It was a huge, silly number. But it does feel like they've almost done this on purpose.
Okay, this does guarantee the Kodo hits the Cleric, though, so Best Uda's card draw days are done for now. There's the Inner Fire, 1 turn too late, though there's always been a taunt in the way, regardless.
Wonder if they can get a turn where they go double Radiant Elemental Lyra later on, but that's much later on.
Yeah, and it's double Radiant Elemental Lyra turns do tend to be very, very strong. I think Bulgaria definitely going to hold on to those Radiant Elementals now and try and get that to happen. But what do they do this turn? This is a hand, it's still just a handful of nothing.
Handful of nothing. You've got to deal with that Pyromancer. You want to buff up your Blade Master.
Yes, Blade Master's fine.
And you want to start threatening that Divine Spirit Inner Age combo kill.
Heal it up, play the Cabal Talent Priest, try and empty the hand a little bit more. Because again, the game I was talking about earlier, where you try and empty your hand, Bulgaria struggling with that even more than Mexico are.
Yeah, Mexico are actually okay with it. Bulgaria just have this whole handful of nothing, but this nothing is starting to turn into a potential combo kill. Second Divine Spirit would put them in a fantastic position to do 28 with his 4/7. That's where the Blade Masters come in this deck. Is it doesn't do a quick combo kill for the most part. It's not got the silence aspect to it, and so you've got plenty of time to heal it up to a size where it can be a danger as the game goes on. And obviously it's just a decent 3-drop, which always has been in the history of the game with Circle of Healing, with Nausea Cleric. But the game has rumbled along to this point, and now suddenly these things are 4/7s with potential to be buffed.
Yeah, it just looks as though, especially with that last turn, the Priest has got a good handle on this board. I wonder if... I was going to say I wonder if this is an equality turn, but it's just not there yet. Primordial Drake, it's a pretty good card against Priest.
Yes, it really is. It's never been mentioned before. Light Warden, a little bit late to the party,
let's
maybe.
go. Wait, is this not... Yeah, okay.
It's go time.
Speaking of parties.
And I think you just start buffing your Blade Master and hope you can get through this Drake by the end of the next 10 minutes.
Power Shield, great draw from Lyra there.
This is where you need your player on the deck to actually just do it himself, and you all need to shut up and hope for the best.
Okay.
There's a Mass Dispel, but it costs too much.
Yeah, it's a shame. Actually running out of Binding Heal, okay, that keeps the train going.
Choo.
But that's
misordered there, but yeah. Takes that down. Now he's going to Binding Heal to boost this back up. And this is going to force the Equality Consecration, which is why he's considering not using it. Representing
hang on a
something
sec.
else.
Embrace the Shadows. Binding Heal actually just deals him damage.
Okay,
destroy
sure.
this Radiant
I missed that
Elemental.
part. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah.
I was wondering why he was trying to target his opponent's face with it. Oh, and a Hydrologist, great. That's more Lyra synergy
good.
if it survives. But I don't think it will survive somehow. This is definitely a Pyromancer equality turn. Actually, no, it's a equality Pyromancer Spike Ridge Steed turn.
There is a Peacekeeper. You may want to let your opponent... You can't let your opponent keep Lyra in case there's more Divine Spirits, I guess. You just have to clear. The Peacekeeper's tempting, but then you just lose to some sort of Divine Spirit Interfire.
Right.
I don't think you fancy your chances, you know, if you wild Pyro equality here.
You really don't like that play? Okay.
I like it, but I think if you're sat in Mexico's seat where you can't see what the million hands in your opponent's hand are,
That's true.
it's something you don't want to have to be forced into. I don't see a better play.
Another option is Pyromancer... equality Pyromancer Hydrologist.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. Okay. So there is a Light Warden, or two Light Wardens, sorry, in Bulgaria's deck. Now, I don't know the exact list that's been played in HCT this next weekend, but I believe it runs one Light Warden.
Right.
Light Warden becoming pretty popular recently ever since
Just
Kalento.
1-2s are good.
Yeah, and ever since Kalento hit Rank 1 Legend with a Light Warden deck, everyone has been trying it out.
1-2s that can kill other 1-2s even better. That's why Flame Tongue Totem's so good.
Festuda only has 5 cards left in his deck, though. So as long as Empazanado can hang on, maybe get a Tyrion, get a Ken, draw that N'Zoth, he's got Stegodon and a Spike Ridge Steed in hand, he might just be able to outlast Bulgaria.
Yeah. Hasn't currently got a very good way of doing much, but also isn't really in much of a hurry. And a lot of those 14 cards remaining are good. There's Tarim, there's possibly Ragnaros.
Speaking of goods, Light Warden as a 1/4 isn't bad at all. That's something that Mexico need to clear as fast as possible.
It is. It's definitely going to be a nuisance. They can reset it at some point with the Peacekeeper. They've also got a Spike Ridge Steed to get in the way. Consecration. We'll go with that second equality when it turns up. Rathian could hit Primordial Drake. Never seen it happen yet, but it will do one day.
I could hit N'Zoth the Corruptor.
Yeah? He's not a dragon, though.
It's not a dragon, and in fact, I don't believe any Death Rattles have died yet this game because the Priest played Potion of Madness on the Infested Tauren.
Right.
So unfortunately, it's kind of a useless 5/7 at the moment, but it's nice to have ready for when it is good.
Any way of doing 26 this turn with this minion? I can see 4, 3.
So Holy Fire plus Shadow Visions plus whatever spell you get from that is actually quite a lot of damage.
It is. And you've got to get that Shadow Visions played if there are any spells at all left in your deck before you just run out.
Unless there's an Elise.
Unless there's
If there's an Elise, then Festuda might actually just hold on to it until he can...
Yep.
Until he can play that Redemption.
Good
Gonna
call.
allow the Light Warden to just live forever. Healing it up works just fine too. Oh boy. That's getting out of control. It's now 5/4.
Starting to go nuts.
And you thought Mana Worm was a scary card. I thought it was anyway.
It is. And Bulgaria are finding a way to force damage through here. And Mexico are finding a way to draw really badly.
They might like to play that Thought Steal pretty soon. There's a high chance that they pull a Tyrion from it. So we haven't seen one yet. High chance they pull a Ken too, if there's one in the deck.
When does this Spike Ridge Steed get played? Is it now? Are you guys like play Spike Ridge Steed and also maybe a Noble Sacrifice here? You really want to get things to work with your Tyrion, but you're starting to panic a bit here.
Well, there's the Noble Sacrifice.
Doesn't seem that good. I guess you have to play the Kodo.
Getaway Kodo and Redemption both synergize very well with Tyrion, which is something that Mexico will be considering soon. They're also going to be considering that this game ends in the next few turns regardless. Bulgaria are going to run out of cards and start taking fatigue damage.
Let's see how they visualize their win conditions here. I mean, picking up their better cards is one way, obviously. And yeah, just doing everything they can to not die in the immediate future, because their deck is jam-packed full of very heavy stuff still to come.
Just resetting the Light Warden. Back down to 1 attack. Start again.
Start again it will.
So you just gonna need Powered Shield into Elise, play that, and then Shadow Visions to grab the pack.
Sure.
It looks like that might be what he's doing.
I don't disagree.
I can't think of why else he'd play the Power Shield if there wasn't an Elise in the deck. That's Inner Fire. Wait a second, is there any? No, there isn't. Ori.
There's a lot.
Inner Fire doesn't synergize that well with Light Warden, actually.
I mean, you can buff it up and then start. I mean, you can buff up the Light Warden and then start to
No spells left in the deck.
buff it after you Fire.
That should have been played before the Powered Shield. Guess it doesn't make a huge difference because they wouldn't have wanted to play it to draw more cards.
Well, only, yeah, okay, sure. Here comes the Light Warden damage.
That sequencing is dodgy as well.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly what's wrong with it, but I was saying a minute ago that Inner Fire wants to be played first, so you buff it up and then heal, but yeah. A few of those things seem to be a little bit... It's just difficult.
The Light Warden would have had 2 more attack if that was sequenced.
They've also managed to blow up their own Pyro, which I don't know if that was right or wrong, but it doesn't feel like it was right.
And Rallying Blade just makes short work of the Light Warden now. Though there is the Noble Sacrifice up. No, it's not a Noble Sacrifice, is it? It's a Redemption.
In the light's name.
Okay. Resetting the Light Warden one more time.
This time there's only got 1 health, it's only going to 3, they've only got 1 card left. And Mexico must just be wondering where on earth is our Tyrion. Tell you where, it's in your bottom 10 cards.
I don't think it matters though. We're going to see what Bulgaria's last card is. If this is Elise, I'll be very confused at the last turn. I don't think that it's possible.
It won't be Elise. We should be able to work it out.
Talk Reaper. I don't think I'd have ever worked that out.
It's been a while. It's been a long game.
So Bulgaria can still generate more cards with the Thought Steal. They can get Tyrion. They can still get some value down. And their Personado is down to 9 health. However, Mexico have a Taunt up. They have Spike Witch Steed, which gives them another Taunt, and then another Taunt. But there is Mass Dispel for Bestuda. So this game isn't quite over just yet.
The trouble is all of these cards, just draw them more cards. Yeah, it's the Thought Steal that's going to be the key.
So start with Thought Steal, I would imagine.
I think so.
Thought Steal, Talk Reaper, Priest of the Feast, then next turn Tyrion, then Mass Dispel, I think is the sequence that I would do things.
Yeah. They may be wondering if there's a way to wait and get some actual use out of the Priest of the Feast's healing, but I don't think there's anything that makes sense there.
Obviously, I'm just pretending that Bulgaria have perfect knowledge and know there's still a Tyrion in Personado's deck. They should think that it's highly likely there's a Tyrion.
I mean, they need some stuff, right? They've got a Thought Steal because they've got no cards left.
But the fact that they haven't played their Tyrion yet does tend to indicate they haven't drawn it. What the?
They're just going to find an extra point of damage. They need damage. So they've decided, you know what, we'll do this.
Okay.
Try and kill you in the next turn or two. They need to proc that secret if it's Noble Sacrifice.
Yeah, that's true.
And they've realised they've got no damage left. I think this is a weird turn, but actually looking at it, it does look okay.
I'm surprised the Thought Steal wasn't played, because given that Mexico haven't played Tyrion yet, and only have 9 cards left in their deck, Tyrion will be drawn soon, and I would want to play the Thought Steal before that happens.
Sure, I don't disagree.
Okay. Time definitely running out for Bestuda.
Alright, let's see what 2 cards they get.
They are the wrong legendaries, though Tarim's not horrible.
Tarim's pretty decent here to deal with this 4-9 mess.
Neither of these cards are quite Tyrion, though, are they?
I mean, no, but nothing's quite Tyrion if you don't get Tyrion.
Oh dear, Acolyte's going to draw 2 cards.
It is.
Well, I think it's safe to say at this point that this game appears to be...
It is now, because Consecration's come into the hand, which means that even the Ragnaros, if it had any plans of, beyond its station, it's not going to get to do any damage. There's no combo left. Mexico will take their time, because they've got to make sure that they don't necessarily know exactly what's in hand. But they could be up against a Tyrion for all they know.
But after a long, grueling series, looks like they've taken this away.
It does, and that's going to put Bulgaria down to 1 and 2, and on a -2 game difference, which is not a good spot to be in right now. There are currently 3 teams definitely better than that already for 3rd place, and there needs to be one more team above them, and that's very, very likely to happen. So,
You think that might be Canada?
Canada or Italy. Oh, no. Bulgaria will finish in third a lot of the time here. They could even finish in fourth and be out. But even if they finish third, because it's the same group as Canada, even if they finish in third, they're probably going to be out just because Israel and USA later today is also a good spot for them.
I was following the wrong trail of thought there, but as we see, there's now a Cairn finally picked up. Priest of the Feast on its own is a great card, but it's not going to be able to carry any player to a win from this position. Bulgaria, best out of EU, not quite able to take this away, but Empazanado does. Mexico take the series and win the group.
Yeah, 3-0 in the group. The other teams that have done that have been China, who looked dominating, and the Netherlands. And Mexico will be very pleased to be in the company of those two names.
Yeah, they absolutely will. We said earlier, one of the underdogs, some of these players not very well known by the Hearthstone international community at large, but definitely earning their name here. Let's take a look at how that series went one more time. A lot of back and forth there. Yinis taking game one with the Pirate Warrior against Silent Storm's Rogue. Golem Pachaga does win with the Paladin, but then Irvin G wins with the Mage, Morgalad with the Druid. And then Empazanado finishes off with the N'Zoth Paladin that we just saw.
Something we've hardly seen in any of the weeks is this alternating wins. Yeah. Going from 1 to 1, 2-1, 2-2.
Pretty.
That's what alternating means, we know.
Makes a pretty pattern, but we're going to have a chat with Yinis right now. Hey Yinis, congratulations for winning the group. What's the mood like for Team Mexico right now?
Can you repeat it again? I can hear you.
What's the mood like for Team Mexico right now that you've won your group?
We are very happy, like always. Well, we are very happy.
How far are you going to go? You going to win it all?
Yep, we are first. We want to reach first the better 4, and then win the tournament because nobody trusts in us. So we have to prove that we have a very good players, and in like a team, we can do better things because we're a very good team that has communication and things like that.
You've definitely shown yourself to be one of the underrated teams before the Hearthstone Global Games, but definitely making a name for yourselves now. Talk to me about this hunter deck. Is it just a regular mid-range hunter with Ysera? Because we've seen Ysera in so many different decks today. It's been kind of weird.
It's like the day that we broke the first match against Polonia.
Right.
And we want to use it because we know that we have already qualified to the next phase.
Mm-hmm.
So we say all the people that saw that deck was very happy and was excited for when we were playing. So we want to give them the emotion to see that deck again, and we know that this good against certain matchups.
Right. And who do you want to beat in the next round? Which team?
United States.
You want to eliminate the United States and the Netherlands. Okay.
Good call.
Great set of teams. I'm sure you can do it. Congratulations one more time, Yinis. We will see you next week at the start of the single elimination bracket. Good luck.
Thanks.
They want to wipe out United States.
Yeah, why
not? Want to wipe out the Netherlands. Go for it, I say.
Seems good to me. And yeah, he's right, entirely right. We underrated them, along with Israel, who we're going to see later. And those teams are proving us to be very, very wrong.
Back in game one, the Pirate Warrior just doing what Pirate Warrior does best, smorking down these pesky quest rogues.
Yeah, just 5 turns, bang, bang, bang. That's how it went on this one. And a very quick win indeed here.
Yeah, next up was Golem Pachaga versus Empazanado. I believe it was Shaman versus Paladin, and this wasn't an Evolved Shaman. It was, oh no, this one was the Evolved Shaman. Oh my goodness, it's been a long series.
It was a long series, yeah, there were several Shamans taking place.
It wasn't quite able to get past the Control Paladin deck.
Yeah, Paladin had a very good double Pyromancer start.
And I think it just picked up N'Zoth at some point as well. Like, hey, oh yeah, we do on N'Zoth too, by the way.
Yeah, there was both Paladins sort of failed to draw their Tyrians and succeeded in drawing their N'Zoths, and it was just not played.
This wasn't the Evolved Shaman, Bulgaria's one. And it did take the win too, I think. My notes are right there.
Seem to remember the mage one, but I could be wrong.
That's what I thought too. That's why I'm questioning my notes. So
Questionable notes here from casters. Whatever. Has this ever happened before?
yeah, you're right. No, I'm misreading. The mage did take.
They managed to just build up so much burn in their hand that the shaman, even though they played double Jinyu, didn't draw their spirit echo quick enough.
Right.
And everything just sort of went to pieces after that, really.
Yeah, here we
this
go.
Mana worm just
right,
did chunks and chunks of damage.
Yep, apologies for that. Just completely misreading my own writing.
And then the Hunter in the next game as well, we're going to see in a moment. Eunice very proud of the fact that they can entertain some people whilst winning games of Hearthstone. They didn't win this game, but they did win the match. And I like that attitude. I like the attitude of we want to prove we're good, we want to prove we can entertain, we want to prove everything.
These guys are entertainers. Epsilon herself is a big streamer in Mexico. Worth checking out if you enjoyed watching these weird and wonderful decks.
And again, I like the balance of not too much weird, not too much wonderful, but just occasionally, we know people like watching our Hunter, we're going to play it for you.
Yep.
Don't know if they win in the Task 16, though.
Yeah, well, that's where it really does. There's not going to be any games they play then where it's like, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's going to be none of this. We're not sure if we're going to meme today. Everybody's going to be going for the jugular. It'll be interesting to see. I think the teams that don't get too serious, don't go too much tier 1, are still going to be the teams that are going forward. Well, if you just go with all the tier 1 decks, I think you're quite easily picked off in this format.
Yeah, well, in that final game, there you go. Happy birthday, Gaskin. Dan, you out there? Happy birthday.
There you go. Fan from Mexico there for Gaskin. Thank you, Epsilon.
Perfect. Yeah, and that final game, best idiot EU, going a little bit too far on the card draw. Just a little bit.
A little bit, but then, I mean, it didn't draw anything worthwhile in the whole game, so maybe it was okay.
Nothing worthwhile in the deck. Let's take not one last look at the group. Let's take another look at Group F. Mexico won the group, sitting at the top. Later on, it's going to be Italy versus Canada to decide who comes second.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see that one. Plenty of stuff going on in that one for us later.
But first, before that game, the USA have to play against Israel. So
that'd be a good one.
2 more great games coming up. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We're almost there. Quiet down, everyone. This is not like any of our previous expeditions. This will be far more ambitious. We're stepping into a land of primordial wonder. Infused with astonishing elemental energies. The plant life here holds very unusual properties. So don't touch anything. And while you may be excited to see the local fauna, you might want to make sure they don't see you. Because their powers of adaptation are devastating. Make no mistake, we will be tested at every turn. But if we stay on our guard, we might just survive. Now then, are you ready? Then let's journey into Ongoro Crater.